All right, we're gonna try that again. hopefully, hopefully we're good. I don't know though. It could definitely go out regardless. It could go out again. I'll just warn everyone again. It could definitely go out again. And if it does, um, yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna hope it's not because I checked the weather. I checked the weather, and this time it doesn't say anything about because when the power did go out, it was saying severe thunderstorms, right? But now it's just saying flash flood warning. So that makes me think that there's not a problem with shit. I don't know. Let's just hope for the best. Let's just hope for the best because it came back pretty quick. We've had power outages where it's been out for like weeks, not weeks, like days, which is ridiculous when that happens. But um, yeah, let's just hope it stays this way and that we don't have any issues because I have no idea, man. It could definitely go out again. If it does, I probably will just end it there for the day and then we'll come back and do this another time. Cause yeah, that'll be kind of frustrating trying to do that whole thing again. We'll just kind of run through what we already done. Rocky 4, just in case you guys missed it. True Lies, Alita Battle Angel, Spider-Man 3, Gremlins, Disturbia. It's still fun, right? That scares the shit out of me because I really don't want it to go out again. I really don't want it to go out again. Scream 4, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, Spider-Man Homecoming, Deadpool, and Scream. And then I think we left off on 7. So we're at 7 now. I'll continue there, yeah. Because the only issue with this happening is that now there's going to be 2 separate streams when I like post this. I don't know if there's a way for me to combine them, but whatever. It is what it is. 7. Talked about it a little bit. I forget what I was saying when I left off, but I think I was saying something along the lines of it was just the way they went through the different killings and stuff within this movie was just really well done. How it like all portrayed each of the 7 deadly sins, and Kevin Spacey, although the guy himself is kind of I'm sure you guys have heard of what happened with him, but it still was a great actor in this movie, and same with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. That like last 30 minutes, oh my god, it was so good, so freaking good. That like last 30 minutes made it for me. It was already a pretty good movie regardless, but that was like the coffee. I was gonna say the coffee on top. It's the cherry on top. Actually, I'm gonna repost the stream to my Twitter because we're back now. So some people might not know that we're back. So I just want to let people know that. Just to make sure. Yo, Jason Carr with the 50 bomb? Holy shit, dude. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for being a true movie buff and a great person everyone should know or watch a movie with. You are an inspiration to all movie people. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I probably just screamed in your guys' ears, so I apologize for that. But thank you so much. You know what I was fully expecting to happen? I was fully expecting to start reading your comment, and then I was fully expecting the power to just go out right as I was reading. I was fully anticipating that, and that would have been kind of funny. But thank you so much. How do you feel about Ghostbusters Afterlife? I actually haven't watched a trailer for it yet. Because I haven't even watched Ghostbusters 2 yet. So I wanted to watch that first before watching that. But I'm not sure if Ghostbusters 2 is necessary to watch before seeing Afterlife. Or at least a trailer for it. But thank you again, Jason. And that's really, really helpful, man. I really appreciate it. Alright, so let's move on. Let's move on to this one. This one's a funny one. This next one is one of my favorite comedies out there, and that's got to be Ted. Come on now. I mean, it's a talking teddy bear. I mean, come out. So Seth MacFarlane is one of the only guys in terms of the film or TV industry that can make me die of laughter. Like that is my type of humor. Is like Family Guy humor, and this is literally Family Guy humor in a movie. That's literally what it is. So it's exactly my type of movie. He's also done obviously Ted 2, which is not on the list, but it's also pretty good. Um, A Million Ways to Die in the West was hilarious as well. Like, he just does a lot of funny shit. Obviously, Family Guy is along that same thing. He's just funny. It's just funny, man. It's got some funny moments to it. It's a talking teddy bear. Like, come on now. It was one of the movies that I saw when it first came out, and I was like 13 years old. But like, I watched a lot of those type of movies when I was that age, because why the hell not? I was about to send that right before the power outage. As soon as you paused, I was like, oh shoot. Oh, good thing you didn't then. Thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate it. That would have been funny if you sent it right, because I wouldn't have known either. That's the thing, because I wouldn't be able to see it, because when I went back on the stream, it wouldn't tell me that it was there. I would have to go back to the old stream to see it. So good thing you didn't. Such a weird movie, not gonna lie. Oh, it is weird. That's why it's so good. It's just, oh, and also Mark Wahlberg. He's an actor that I find he's in some serious roles here and there, but I can never take him that seriously. He's a funny guy. I'll be honest. He's just got good humor that he can portray really well. Basically, that's the best way to sum it up. So great movie. I love it. Comes in up there. Did you wait? I just gotta ask. Did you guys get the notification for me when I went back live? I might check myself actually. I want to see if it sent out another notification. Okay, it did. Good, good. Just making sure. Because YouTube's been honestly really funky with that. Like sometimes they won't send out a notification, but sometimes they will. And it always gets kind of annoying when they do that, to be honest. It's a good thing. Good thing they did. Your screen just buffered for half a second. Oh no. Oh no. Alright. Next up, Predator. Predator from 1987. That's kind of funny. That's completely unintentional, but it's an 87 spot, and it came out in 87. So that's funny. But yeah, Predator, I mean, come on now. It's a pretty damn good movie. It was one that I reacted to. One of the first ones I reacted to back in summer of last year, like summer of 2020. So if you watch those reaction videos, probably pretty shitty quality. Like I got my old webcam that I'm using. I'm not even using my new camera. So I would say the quality was pretty cheeks, but it doesn't change the fact that I love the hell out of the movie. Obviously another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Not my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but the Predator as a person, right? As a not person, as a creature. Yeah, 45 Metascore. That is weird. Metascore to me is the weirdest thing because I feel like it's always all over the place. So I've never understood what even Metascore comes from. Because like, is it out of 100? Because if it is, then like, what the fuck? Even 7 down here has a 65 Metascore, which is weird. I don't know. Some Metascore ratings are weird. Even some of the IMDb ratings, they're usually pretty accurate. At least these are the user ratings right here, just in case you guys are curious. User ratings, the blue one's my rating, so I kind of don't like how they don't let you put like in betweens. You can only do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. You can't do like a 9.5 or 8.5 because I would like to differentiate these with like, those point values, but you can't, so it's whatever. But a 9, it would probably be more like a 9.1, maybe a little bit less than that, like an 8.8. Should round to a 9, I guess. I'll give it an 8.7 just because it came out in 87. It's my 87 spot, so it gets an 8.7 for me. Yeah, that is a funny Metascore. But for Predator, I've only seen the first 2. Oh, and Alien vs Predator. I still haven't watched any other ones. I would like to do some of the other ones, some of them on the channel, but I know some of them people really hate as well, so they're not worth to watch, I guess, on the channel. But I will watch on my own regardless. But yeah, it's a very, very fun, manly movie that has a lot of great action and a lot of crazy deaths from Predator killing people. It's essentially a slasher movie when you really think about it. Predator himself is just such a well-designed creature. Really fun to watch him use his little gadgets and stuff. He has the invisibility thing, the little wrist rocket thing, or like laser rocket, whatever you call it. Um, then he takes off his helmet at the end, and he's like, "You ugly bitch," or whatever he says. It's funny. Yeah, critics. Well, I can't say they're not always right because at the end of the day, it is just opinions, but they are very all over the place. This is something that I have a problem with for a lot of critics sites is that you can tell when there's a bias there. Like there always is. Sometimes it's dependent on the studio, sometimes it's dependent on the actors, and a lot of times it's political bias. Not all the time, but I have seen this a lot where there is a political bias in place. Like the movie doesn't follow their exact ideology, so they automatically give it a bad rating, or there's an actor or actress in it that they don't like because of something they did or something, whatever, so they give it a bad rating, or the movie's just not made for them, so they rate it based on the fact that it's not made for them. Like if a movie's really violent, like, Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is later on this list. People say Kick-Ass is really overly violent. A lot of people said that, especially as like a superhero movie, which I'm surprised they aren't saying that about the Suicide Squad, but whatever. Kick-Ass, they were saying was very, very violent and stuff like that, and like gory, and then they give it a bad rating because of that. But it's like that's the point, though. It's supposed to be like that. You got to rate the movie based on what it's supposed to be. If you just don't like what it's trying to be, then you can have a problem with it in your own. But like, you're a critic, though. I feel like you're supposed to rate these movies in a different way that you would rate it, like from a personal standpoint. At least in my opinion, that's how critics should rate movies. But I feel like a lot of times they don't rate them like that, and they really rate them just purely based off of how much they enjoyed it, which is how I'm rating these movies myself, to be completely honest. So, it is what it is. Next up, Edward Scissorhands. This might be a surprising pick. I have seen this movie so many times, and I recently rewatched it for the first time in like 10 years because I watched it as a kid a lot. Watched it for the first time in like 10 years, like a couple weeks ago. Or maybe like more like a couple months ago. And I was like, yeah, I know why I watched it a lot as a kid, because it is a crazy, weird, fun movie. I've been saying fun a lot. I like fun movies. That's just how it is. But this one is a Tim Burton movie. It might be the only Tim Burton movie on this list now that I'm thinking about it, because I don't have Batman 89 on this. Sorry for Batman 89 fans. I liked it. I like Batman 89. It's just I don't think it's in the top 100. It would probably be in the top like 150 though. But this is, to me, his best movie. It's over the top and crazy, and if you accept the fact that it's over the top and crazy, it is such a good movie. I mean, Johnny Depp kills this role. He's like just his mannerisms and how the character of Edward acts. I like the story so much, though. It's it's a movie that you would probably see like on Broadway. I don't know. Is it a Broadway? Like, have they had Broadway plays based on this movie? Because it just seems like a Broadway type of a movie. Like it would work for that nature, And then the story to me is just really a deep. It's got a lot about acceptance in it. A lot of deep themes about acceptance and accepting people who are different. I guess really, and prejudice, even just the fact that he's obviously very different, that people automatically judge him to be this person who would probably do bad things just because he looks dangerous, but he's not really dangerous at the end of the day at all. I just really like how it played out. You just have to accept the fact that it's a goofy, crazy movie because none of it really is realistic. Obviously, there's a lot of crazy shit about it. Like you'll be in a scene, you'll be like, well, what's going on here? You look tired. I'm always tired. That's just how it is. But no, yeah, Edward Scissorhands, great movie. Winona Ryder is great in it as well, by the way, obviously. So yeah, next up, fucking Bride of Chucky. This one's gonna surprise some people, but not people who probably know me well because they know I love these movies. So you got to get some Bride of Chucky. You got to get some Chucky movies in there. And Bride of Chucky, it really hurts to see the user score be a 5.7. I don't know why people hate Chucky movies so much on IMDb. They rate them so poorly. It's like, if you don't want to watch a doll killing people, then I don't know what you want to watch, to be honest. But this one's just one of the more fun ones. It's not really a horror movie by any means. It's more of a horror comedy. But this the back and forth between Chucky and Tiffany in this whole movie is just really fun to watch, and some of the kills are some of the best in the franchise as well. It's a short one too. It's not like a long movie or anything. So if you just want a quick movie to just put in, it's not a bad one to watch. And then the last part of the movie as well is probably the best. When they're in the RV and they're with those, I forget the name of the characters, but there's the couple that's like running away because the father doesn't accept the boyfriend, and then they get into this back and forth with them, and they're trying to, because essentially the whole point of it is they're trying to take the bodies so they can have new bodies to be in. But it's just really fun how that all plays out. And he's like talking to Chucky. He's like telling Chucky, trying to get him to fight with his wife, so they'll get in a fight. And it's a great movie. It's a great movie. The new film was horrendous. I actually liked the new one. I'm assuming talking about the Child's Play remake from 2019. I thought it was fine. Didn't like it as much as like this one. It's not on the list, and it's not on my top 100 anywhere. But I liked it. Yeah, there's a lot of Chucky movies. There's 8 of them, 8 of them right now, and they're making a TV series soon. So, what does R-rated mean? It just means it's mature. So it's like, you know, you got to be 17 or above to see it in theaters. Yeah, is it 18 plus or 17 plus? It's one or the other, but that's basically all it means. Yeah. So usually those movies got more blood, more gore, stuff like that, more, you know, possibly nudity, sometimes a lot of cursing, stuff like that. 84 we have Aliens, which people who probably watched this when they were younger, I would assume have this even higher than I do. I watched this for the first time last year. It's not like a childhood movie or anything, but it's still fantastic. I like it more than the original Alien, which a lot of people will agree with that. I think for the most part, Alien would probably be my top like 150, maybe 200, but I didn't like it as much as Aliens though, because Aliens was more my style. I feel like because it went a little bit further with it. I guess it was more of an action movie as opposed to like horror. The first one felt more like horror. This one felt more like an action movie, and I think Ripley was just a lot better in it. She was a lot more badass. It was a lot more crazy. I mean, going against multiple. I mean, it's the best way to do a sequel, in my opinion. First one has one of them, right? Second one has a bunch of them. So it's just perfect. It's exactly what they should have done for a sequel, in my opinion. So that's why I think it works out so damn well. Yeah, exactly. You need a parent or guardian. Yeah, exactly. Which even then, I feel like it's pretty easy to get away with seeing it, even if you're not 17. I've done that all the time, but nothing beats the original Child's Play. Well, you're in for something because I actually have other ones above the original. uh, One of the few cases where the sequel is better than the original. Honestly, I think there's a lot of cases where sequels are better than the original. I think it's more common than we realize. In Scream 2, they were having that conversation where they were like, or someone said there's sequels never better or whatever, but then the one guy was like, oh, it's happened all the time. And I agree with that. I mean, I agree with that. There's a lot of sequels I think are better. A lot. I could see you being revealed as Ghostface. Do I look like a killer to you? Maybe. No. All right, next up. This one might be a surprise to some people. Actually, no one's probably heard of this movie, to be honest. What's on your cup? Oh, I think it's Seinfeld. It's the dude from Seinfeld. You see that? I've never watched it, but my dad likes it, so. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 is one of them, yep. Can my cup fit somewhere on this damn table? Alright, let's go next up. This one is interesting. I don't think a lot of people have seen this, to be honest. But if you're a big fan of horror, I feel like you might have seen it. So, it's got a 29 on Metascore. What the shit? They did this man dirty. They did this man dirty. It's a fucking great movie, though. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I strongly recommend it. Strongly recommend it. Like, it was probably one of the most intense movies I've ever seen. So essentially, the whole premise, I'll just go down the premise in case you haven't seen it. This guy is trying to pay off this debt, right? So he's trying to rob this house. So then he goes, I guess I'm going to get offended by your list. Probably. Well, not when it comes to Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, because I do have those originals up high. But Friday the 13th, I don't even have the original on this list. But I do have another Friday the 13th on here, so. And then same for Child's Play. I actually don't even have the original Child's Play on this list. I love that original, but I think there's a couple other Child's Play that do it even better. And obviously, you just saw one of them. I like Bride of Chucky a little bit more, which is definitely unpopular. Gotta be. Gotta be. You remind me of Miss Doubtfire. What the fuck? But yeah, okay, so this movie's about this guy who's trying to pay off this debt, right? And he goes into this house. He's a criminal, essentially. And he doesn't realize, obviously he doesn't realize, but as he's robbing the house, he like sneaks in through like a top window. The whole house is booby-trapped by this psychotic serial killer. And the whole house is like booby-trapped with all these crazy like traps that'll kill you. It's basically like Saw in a way. Like you just step in one room and out of nowhere you're dead, basically, right? And he has to get out of his house, but also avoid this killer, be as quiet as possible because this guy is walking around the house. This guy has like kidnapped people in his basement. He's collecting them. It is intense. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna spoil anything else. Have you watched Rocky? Actually, yes. Rocky 4 was at my 100 spot, just in case you guys are tuning in now. I'll just quickly go through this real quick, just in case you guys are tuning in. Just pause it if you want to see my spots. I'm not going to explain them again, but if you want to see me explain them, you might have to wait a little bit because I explained them in the other stream because I had to end the stream because my power went out. But yeah, if you just wanted to see my spots, that's what you can see so far. I'll have both the streams posted after this, so we'll see it. It's a little bit like Saw, yeah, exactly. The second one was good too. I didn't have that on this list, but I did like the collection as well. Collector's great. Collector's great. All right, next one. This one is actually a 2021 movie. Came out this year, and that's gonna be Nobody. This one I made a review on actually, and I had to because I've literally seen like nobody talk about this, and it pisses me off. It pisses me off because it's so good. Now, it was so close to being like a 10 out of 10, but it didn't get there because of the ending. I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously, but the movie felt like a really grounded action movie. Not like very grounded, but like grounded enough for an action movie. It felt like an 80s action movie, actually, really. Like a classic like 80s movie. But it felt a lot like really kind of grounded. Like the action wasn't over the top for the most part. It was kind of realistic with like the brutality of it. But when it gets to like the last half of the movie, it's a little bit goofy and it goes a little bit to the over the top category. And I was like, yeah, I kind of wish they kept it a little bit more grounded for the ending because it would have been a little bit better off. And I wish they upped the stakes a little bit. Maybe had something else happen with it. But as a whole, yeah, fucking great movie. Nobody likes Nobody. Nah, bro. Some people do. The people who have seen it do. The people who haven't seen it don't. But people gotta see it. I recommend it for sure. That's why I like doing this, is because at least I get to recommend some stuff here, because you guys are usually recommending stuff for me, but now I get to recommend some stuff because like I said, some of these movies aren't that popular. This is one of them. I don't know how well it did in the box office, but it was also halfway through like the pandemic, so I guess that would make sense why it wouldn't do too well. But it's also online. I think now you can watch it on Prime Video for only $6. It says $6 you can rent it right now on Prime Video, so I recommend it. It's a quick movie, so it's not that long, but it's really good. It's really good. The action's great. It's got some of the most like well choreographed action I've ever seen from Bob Odenkirk, who isn't known for doing that type of stuff. So it's really good. It's good. I definitely recommend it. Next up, we have our first Star Wars movie. There's gonna be a couple of those on here, by the way, because I like Star Wars. Not a lot though. I think there's only 4 of them on here, which is still a lot. There's been like 11 of them, so that's like almost half of them. But like I said, I love Star Wars, so you're gonna see it. Rogue One though, Star Wars story, yeah, this is definitely one of the best ones. Uh, People say that like only the last half is good and it's like the first half's crap, but I don't agree with that. You really have to pay attention and really you have to care about the characters to like this movie. That's true, and I think a lot of people don't care about the characters, but I personally do. Most of them, not all of them. It's got some of the best action in Star Wars. It's got one of the best stories because it's literally playing right off of A New Hope, like right before it, which is brilliant. The way it leads up to A New Hope is really well done. Obviously, the Darth Vader scene, enough said, you know. I'm going to go a little bit faster because I know I'll be here forever if I'm not going a little bit faster. So I'll just, I'm not going to stick on to these for too long, but nobody I never heard of yet. A lot of people didn't hear of it. So, all right. I just want to make sure we're not like going to be here forever. You know what I mean? Okay. Next up, Batman v Superman. All right, hear me out. I know people are gonna be like, "What the shit? What do you mean, Batman v Superman?" I, I like this movie a lot more than I feel like most people did. This is the Ultimate Edition. I haven't seen the theatrical cut, so I have no idea if the theatrical cut is poop. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I've only seen the Ultimate Edition. But I really liked a lot of what it did. I liked how it played into the really serious storylines between like what was going on with Superman. It made a lot of sense because people wouldn't just accept someone like this that easily. You know what I mean? I still haven't seen any other Star Wars movie besides the original trilogy. Not sure if I should. I think you should. Even the sequels. I know people will say, no, don't watch those trash sequels. It's still an experience, regardless of if it's good for the story or not. You know what I mean? Are you excited for Andor? I'm not that excited, but I'm definitely like compared to other Star Wars stuff, I'm not that excited, but I am still excited. You know, definitely like Obi-Wan and the Ahsoka series, I'm way more excited for, but I'm not like that excited for Andor in comparison. Still gonna watch it though. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is it's a good movie. Like I watched it kind of expecting to not like it that much because everyone was telling me it was bad, and I'm like, it was pretty good though. You know, there's a couple of stupid things I'll agree. I still think the Martha scene was a little bit rushed. Other than that, like, what do you want? Like, you know, people just they sometimes they judge things in such weird ways, and I'm just like, how is that even a negative? You know what I mean? But whatever. Nonstop. Now I just watched Air Force One. By the way, I'm sure if you guys follow my community tab, you saw that I posted the full uncut to Air Force One. Very similar to this movie, and Air Force One is on this list. It's much higher. Love the shit out of that movie. But Nonstop, I watched this when it first came out back in 2014. Saw it in theaters actually because I was in this phase of loving Liam Neeson action movies. Liam Neeson was like my favorite person in the entire world. I literally did not want to watch any movie unless it had Liam Neeson in it. So I watched literally everything with him in it, no matter what. And this is one of the ones that I really liked from him. It's not like the best movie ever, obviously, but it's a pretty simple story. It's this air marshal. He plays an air marshal that's on a flight, and this guy's basically threatening to blow up the bomb on the plane, right? And he keeps saying that he'll kill someone every 20 minutes unless he gets money. And people just keep dying left and right, and it's a mystery. You have to try to find out who the killer is. Kind of like Scream in a way. Honestly, it has some similarities to Scream a little bit. But what I loved about it so much is that it was a very surprising. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's very surprising who ends up being the killer. Essentially, like I never in a million years would have predicted it. Never. Like I'm sure some people have, but I personally couldn't predict it because they do such a good job of introducing so many characters to you. Like there's like 20 plus characters that they show off with little scenes here and there, with little hints here and there, and you're like trying to piece things together. It's one of those movies, and I really like those type of movies. So this one, Nonstop, great movie. Harry Potter fans, we got some Harry Potter shit in here. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Not my favorite Harry Potter, but it's definitely one of my favorites. And yeah, I think the whole thing with Umbridge in this one was fantastic. I think what they did with Voldemort at the end, fantastic. It's a lot more serious. Fantastic. I'm confused by your list, and I've only seen about 5 entries. Why are you confused? You hate these movies? Trust me, we get to some good stuff. These are all movies that I would rewatch a million times if I had to, because I love all of them. To be honest, there's even more that I love past this. To be honest, you look like Billy Loomis's mom, really. Being Order of the Phoenix, I wasn't really know. I didn't really know what to expect going into it because I didn't really know how people felt about this one. But yeah, it was one of my favorites for sure. What else is there to say? Next up, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Same thing with Harry Potter. Not my favorite Lord of the Rings, but it's definitely still in my top 100. This one, I have not rewatched Lord of the Rings yet, actually. I watched them for the reactions back in February. Loved them like crazy, but I have not found time to rewatch them yet. And I want to. So, I would love to rewatch this. But at the end of the day, I still remember absolutely loving the shit out of this movie. Even the parts where I was like, kind of like, what's going on, like in the beginning, because they introduced a lot in the beginning of this movie. But it was so well done how it all came together in the end. And then the third one solidified it for me. Because like I didn't really know what to feel after watching the second one. And then watching the third one, I was like, oh, that's fucking great. Like the way it all kind of works together. It's one of those franchise or trilogies where you have to watch the entire thing to really like be able to appreciate the first two. You know what I mean? So yeah, the Two Towers is up there. That end battle alone is one of the best battles I've seen in a movie ever. So that's definitely good. There's a similar movie where Liam Neeson's on a train. Yeah, there's a movie with him on a train. I don't like that movie that much though. I forget what it was called. I think it was like The Commuter or something. I don't like it that much though. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it that much. We should do my top 50 worst movies of all time list. That would be a stupid list though, because it would be like a bunch of movies that I've like barely paid attention to because I just hated them so much. Haven't seen any Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Don't hate me. I will never hate you, bro. Don't worry. But I do recommend watching them because they're really good. So, and next up, The Terminator. Told y'all there'll be more Arnold Schwarzenegger on here, but even then, this is not the best Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. But still so damn good. So I reacted to this back in September of last year. And even just the first one, before seeing the second one, and I knew people said the second one was a lot better. So I was like going to the first one. I'm like, I'm not sure what to expect. And the 80s feel alone is enough to get me to love it because I was never alive in the 80s, obviously. I was born in the year 2000, so I wasn't even alive in the 90s. But I still love 80s themed things. And this movie is really 80s. Like, obviously it was made in the 80s, but just because it's made in the 80s doesn't mean it's going to feel 80s. But this one feels very 80s. With the music, with the soundtrack. Well, music and soundtrack, I guess, is the same thing, but you know what I mean. With the scenery, with the clothes, with the hairstyles, it just feels very 80s. And you have this futuristic, like, killing machine coming to that era to kill this girl, and it's so well done in that way. I think the only negative I have for the movie is that it is very outdated. Like, a lot of the effects are clearly outdated. Now, it's not a terrible thing because you have to, appreciate it for when it was made. Obviously, it was made in the fucking 80s. You can't be like, oh, it's got weird looking, whatever you call it, like the stop motion was cool, but obviously it's not nearly as good as some stuff you've seen later on, like Terminator 2. A lot of the stuff looked a lot better, even. But you gotta appreciate it. It was made in the 80s, 84. You gotta be like, okay, it was probably really good for its time. I can't really compare it because I wasn't alive during that time, but I can at least compare it to other movies and be like, yeah, it was probably pretty much on par with other movies from that time period. But the story alone was fantastic. Kyle Reese is a great character, really fun to watch. Obviously, Michael Biehn. I haven't seen him in that many other things, but he was great in that. What's happening? I'm just going through my top 100 favorite movies of all time, and we are on number 76 right now. If you want to see the rest, by the way, you're only going to be able to see some of them because I had to cut off my stream and start a new one because my power went out, but, it's all right. Next up, The Suicide Squad. I bet y'all didn't see that one coming. A movie that literally just came out is on my top 100. But yeah, it was. I don't have much time. Just want to drop by my favorite movies: the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy, Inception, Interstellar, Shutter Island, and more. Well, a lot of those movies are on my list as well. So thank you for stopping by, though. I appreciate it. What's up, 408 Stir? How you doing? Thank you for the kind words. I have not seen Red Dawn or Iron Eagle. I prefer bad practical effects over good CGI. Well, it depends. There's some really good CGI out there to the point where I would prefer good CGI over bad. Like, there's certain things that you just physically can't do practical, which is why I'm okay with CGI. Like, there's certain times where it's like you could have just done like blood, for example. CGI blood pisses me off. I agree. Should definitely go practical for the most part. But stuff like Thanos in like Avenger, you can't do that practically without it looking stupid. You know what I mean? So like, there's times where CGI is just a necessity, and I would not want to see it any other way. But then there's times where you should do it like the new Scream movie, right? The new Scream movie really has no reason to use CGI. It just doesn't. There's no reason why a grounded movie like that needs CGI. Maybe a couple of if they do a really over the top kill, maybe you could use a little bit of CGI, but not a lot. But like something big, like a superhero movie or a fantasy, like you need CGI. Like you just have to. It's not gonna work otherwise. You know what I mean? So that's just my opinion, though. The Suicide Squad. If you want to see my full thoughts, I'm not gonna go too in depth. I literally just did a review on it like a couple days ago and a reaction. The only issues I had with it was like some of the characters could have definitely had more screen time, and there were some moments where humor did feel a little bit forced, but it was still all around. It was a James Gunn movie essentially, and it was really fun, and I love the story, and I love Peacemaker. Peacemaker series, cannot wait for that shit because he was really great in this. John Cena killed it, and King Shark was great as well. That is true. A lot of times yeah, I guess. Are you a bigger DC or Marvel fan? I gotta be honest, it's in between. I can't pick. I literally can't pick. If you asked me that question last year, I would say Marvel, but then I watched the DCEU, and then I watched the old Batman movies and the old Superman movies. I watched Watchmen, and now it's like I can't pick because I feel like they both have equally good stuff and equally bad stuff. So it's kind of hard for me to be like, yeah, one's better than the other. Like, I don't know, because I love Spider-Man. Anything with Spider-Man. I love anything with Batman as well. You know, they both have really solid big budget movies. They both have really solid classic movies. It's really hard. I couldn't pick for the life of me. Shrek 2, we had to throw in an animated movie there. We have a couple of animated movies here. Just a couple. And Shrek 2 is a classic. I mean, come on. It just is. It's better than the first Shrek, even. Gonna watch your True Lies reaction. Peace out. Alright, man. You enjoy that reaction. That was a fun one. It's a Devil's Reject Party. I've never even seen that, to be honest. Shrek 2 is a... Oh, we're getting to 10 out of 10s, by the way. We just crossed the line from 9s to 10s. So all these movies would be like at least a 9... At least a 9.2 or something, I would say. Which means these are all movies that I fucking love. There's not really much else to say about Shrek 2. It's just a classic movie. I probably wouldn't watch it much more anymore, but like as a kid, it was the shit. It was the shit. I didn't like the other Shrek movies though. I just like the first two. How about Gladiator? I'm gonna do a reaction to that at some point. I haven't watched it yet though. Start a TikTok. I have one. I just don't really use it. All right, we'll move on. I don't really know what else to say about Shrek. It's just a classic. You need to do more Halloween reactions. I've already seen all of them though, so I can't do that. But for the new one, I'll do a reaction if it comes out online, but I'm not sure if it will or not. Next up, the only Transformers movie on this list. I don't really like other Transformers movies that much. But Bumblebee. This is actually a pretty damn good movie. It just came out a couple years ago, and I thought it was a nice, family-friendly, just cool movie. Watch the extended edition of Gladiator if it's available. I'll keep that in mind, assuming it's not like 8 hours longer. Nah, I'll probably if most people say the extended edition, I'll watch it. Rain Man's a classic. People say I look like Rain Man. Isn't it Tom Cruise? Doesn't he play Rain Man? You are out, Bumblebee. Give me. What do you have against Bumblebee? What do you have against it? It's not much to say. I mean, it gets a lot of shit just because it's attached to that franchise, and that franchise is obviously hated on by a lot of people. But it feels so separate from those movies. It doesn't even feel like it's part. It feels like a reboot essentially, which in a way it is a reboot. And I think it was a great way to kind of reboot the series. Have you seen Mission Impossible? Nope, but I will watch them at some point. I don't think I've seen any movie with Tom Cruise starring in it, which is kind of funny because I know he's so popular. All right, next up, The Martian. Some people recommended this after I watched Interstellar, and I was like, yeah, no, I've already seen that, bro. Actually, I watched it in science class my senior year of high school. So, yeah, he showed us it, and I loved it. It's I didn't even know Ridley Scott directed it until just this second. I had no idea it was directed by Ridley Scott until literally this second. So that's funny, but it makes sense. It's a great fucking movie. It's obviously, if you haven't seen it, it's just about this guy who gets stranded on Mars, and that's basically the gist of it. It's basically Castaway, but on Mars, in a way, I guess. That's actually probably a really good, what's the word? Analogy. Or analogy's not the right word. Comparison. It's a great movie. I've seen Castaway, like parts of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing. So that is one that I feel like I could do a reaction to. I don't know. It's a great movie. Midnight Express is pretty good. Haven't seen it. Next up, we have Kong Skull Island. Not my favorite King Kong, but there's another one that we have on here. But this one's just it does the story really well. It definitely has a couple of moments here and that I feel like had like some forced humor that definitely wasn't necessary, but it does the Kong story in a way that's obviously more modern because, well, not the story, it takes place in the past, but it feels more modern. Obviously, a lot of the choreography and the directing and such, but it still does the story in a different way. At least I'm glad it didn't just redo exactly what like the old King Kong story was. It kind of tried to do some new things with it, and it takes place in the MonsterVerse with the Godzilla movies, so that's good. Godzilla movies aren't on here, by the way. I love them, but they're not top 100 for me. They're probably top 150, but I like them a lot. I don't even think I have Godzilla and vs. Kong on here either, because I think I still like this one a little bit more. Have you seen Trick or Treat? I think I've seen parts of it, but I'm not too sure. It's like an anthology movie, right? It's got like different stories in it. Have you seen The Mummy? I have. I don't think it made this list. It did it make the list? No, I don't think it did. I love the movie though. It's a great movie. It's just I don't think it made the list. I have not seen the. Oh, I just spoiled the next one. I just spoiled the next one. Toy Story. Another animated movie. And this one, obviously, I think most people have this in their top 100 if you've seen it. I mean, come on. It's Toy Story. Like, come on now. It's just one of the best stories, and it's actually kind of funny. A big part of it is the voice acting is so great with Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, and the way they play off each other in this movie. And it's one of the only like kid movies that I actually die of laughter from just like watching it. Like there's some lines in this movie that are legitimately funny to this day. Like it just is. Like that scene with Buzz when he's like sitting at the in the girls' room with missing an arm, and he's like at a little tea party. Like that's funny to me to this day. You know what I mean? Like it's not even just funny as a kid. Like these movies are still hilarious even today. So it's just, you know, This actually isn't my favorite Toy Story yet. There's another one we'll see way higher on the list, by the way. Way higher. But just want to keep that in mind. There's this kind of recent called Out of the Furnace. Have not heard of it. Yeah, definitely is a good pick. Another animated movie right after, actually. We have back-to-back animated movies here. Madagascar. Another classic, at least for me, because this is when I was young. I feel like anyone who was like a 2000s, early 2000s baby definitely knows this movie really, really well. We're at number 69, by the way, so that's funny. This one I like a little bit more. I think there's just a little bit of thing between these four characters that just works so well. Again, great voice acting between all the characters. When I found out that David Schwimmer was the voice actor for Marty, not Marty. What's the giraffe's name? Is it Marty? No, it's Marv. Is it Marv? No, Marty's the zebra, right? I haven't watched it in a while. Hold on. Oh, Melman. Okay. Marty is the zebra. Yeah, okay. I remember that. Okay, all right. But I remember I found that out like really recently and I was like, "Oh, that's funny." All right. It really is underrated. It is rated 6.9. That's a funny coincidence. Yo, Lincoln with the $2 something. I don't know what that currency is, but thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate all y'all. There really are too many good movies, man. There really are. As you can tell, any animated movie on this list is probably going to be either Pixar or DreamWorks. That's just how it is. There's a couple more on the list, by the way, a little bit higher. Next up, Extraction from 2020. So this movie, I was really looking forward to because I really like Chris Hemsworth, and I think the Russo brothers had a part in this movie somehow. I forget how, though. Or at least one of them did. But this movie is one of the best choreographed action movies I've ever seen. There's this one scene, 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes long, of one consecutive shot in a fight scene. I have not seen Hot Fuzz, but I've been told to watch it, so I probably will someday. This movie, it does such a good job with that. Like that scene alone. If you like fighting action movies, you're probably gonna like this. Got a good Call of Duty feel to it. So if you like Call of Duty, oh shit, another $2. It's Canadian. Oh, well, thank you so much, man. I don't know what that translates to USD, but it doesn't matter because money is money. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just really enjoyed how this movie was able to take this character, and he's like this person. Okay, I'll throw out the story real quick. I'm not gonna spoil it, but he's put on this mission to save this kid. Essentially, he's like kidnapped, and halfway through it, he's kind of like doesn't have to do it anymore. But then he starts to care about this kid a little bit because there's a little bond that they have between the characters, and so he decides to do it regardless of having to do it because he doesn't have to do it, but he does anyways because he's not gonna leave the kid behind to die. And so they have this little bond between these two characters that's really well thought out, and like I said, the action is just really good. So it's on the list. I wonder if How to Train Your Dragon's on here. Interestingly enough, I have not seen those, but I will be doing reactions to them at some point, so I'll keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And YouTube keeps 30% pretty much. Actually, I think they keep like 50%. They keep something. They keep a lot. That's all I know. All right, 87's taken. Yeah, so like I said before, I had that Liam Neeson phase where I watched nothing but Liam Neeson movies. Well, this was my favorite of all those movies. So they also did sequels, and I was obviously younger, so I always loved them regardless of how they were. But and $10, yo, chill, Lincoln. Yo, thank you so much, man. One of the most consistent creators on here. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure it's the same as USD because it says I'm getting the same amount of money as I would normally, but thank you so much. I try my best. I have not seen The Fly now, but we're gonna react to that at some point. But yeah, this movie Taken, essentially is just about his daughter gets kidnapped, and he has to go rescue her, and he goes to some crazy shit to rescue her. And I loved every second of it because Liam Neeson's a badass when he's killing people. I think this movie would be a lot better if it was rated R and it had a little bit more like hard R action to it, but it still knows what it is and it does it really damn well. There were sequels, as I was saying before. I didn't hate them as much as a lot of people did, but I saw the issues with them, especially the third one. Like, it was such an interesting story, but the freaking the editing was so bad. Like, there was one action scene that had like 50 cuts within like 10 seconds. It's like, bro, just let the scene breathe a little bit, man. It was a little too much. But Taken, the first one's great, though. Watch the DC animated films. Maybe at some point. I have been told to by a couple of people, so maybe. Next up, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, so I actually have the whole Indiana Jones trilogy on here, by the way. The whole thing. All three of them. Not the fourth one, but all three of them. And this is actually my least favorite out of the first three. Definitely unpopular, though, because I know a lot of people would probably say Temple of Doom's the worst out of the first three. I'm a little different here, though. So, if you like Liam Neeson, you should watch A Walk Amongst the Tombstones. I have not seen that. I love to donate, but I am a humble, broke college kid. Don't worry about it. No one's ever... Being here is more than enough. It's more than enough. Like, you don't have to do anything. Just being here... Eddie, what are you saying, bro? We have some wholesome comments, and then I just see that. Oh, whatever. Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's a classic. Do I really have to say much about it, to be honest? I think we all know it's a classic. It's probably one of the movies I've seen the most in my entire life. Like, I've seen this probably at least 50 times. It was one of my childhood movies that I rewatched every day and danced to the theme song. I wanted to be I wanted to be just like him when I was younger, to be honest. He was like my Superman, essentially. Alright, next up is The Sixth Sense. So yeah, I'm sure you guys saw my reaction to this one because I literally did it like a month ago. And I absolutely loved it. Oh, I have a dermatologist appointment tomorrow. Shit. Oh, another $2? Yo, Lincoln, thank you so much. Cats 2019. Oh, it's at number 1 spot, actually. Is Saving Private Ryan or any Screams? I can't spoil that. But Screams, we already went over that. Scream was at the 90th spot, I think. And Scream 4 was a little bit lower than that. So 2 Screams are on here. I had to kind of skip over them for this stream because it's kind of like a 2-part stream because the first part I had to end. Long story. If you guys were here, you guys know. That's all I'll say. But yeah, this one is just fantastic. It's one of the best like stories as a whole. Like, when I was first watching it, I was like, yeah, it's a little slow, but it's got an interesting story. It's building up nicely. And then once you got to the end, obviously I'm not going to spoil it. Wow. That's all I got to say. Wow. It pieces together really nicely, and it was such a great movie. Source Code. I see no one talking about this movie either. And it's got really good scores too. 7.5 user score. I don't really see people talking about it that much though. It's a Jake Gyllenhaal movie, and essentially it's kind of like a Groundhog Day type of movie where he repeats the same thing over and over again, right? And he's trying to solve this mystery of who is the one who's blowing up this commuter train. And it's kind of like the other movies I was talking about where it's like a mystery. You're trying to figure out who the hell caused it. And it's this Groundhog Day, so he gets to keep trying again and again and again to find out who the hell is this person that did it. I didn't really like the reveal too much of who it was. I still think it was a little bit of a weird reveal. It didn't have that interesting of a motive behind it. but that doesn't really matter because the movie itself was still really good. I've seen 21 Jump Street. Yeah, I love that movie. Not on the list though, but I loved it. And the second one as well. I saw both of them. Yeah, it's not a very popular one, but like I watched it when it first came out actually. So I'm gonna grab some water soon because I'm about to run out, and when I run out of water, I start dying because my throat starts like murdering itself because of how much I'm talking. Oh, last time I started chewing gum, remember? And that helped. You guys are gonna have to hear me chew gum though. So I apologize for that. But it makes it so I can actually speak. Because otherwise I'm literally gonna be like dying every breath I take. So let me just chew it a little bit just to give it some flavor. Have you ever watched What's New, Pussycat? I have not. All right, next up, It. People told me to watch It. They told me to react to it. I've already seen it though, so. Also had to blow my nose. I love this movie. It's only It on this list. I didn't put the original because I didn't think it was that good. And the chapter 2 was good, but not as good as this one. So it's just a really good horror movie. Not much else to say, really. It just does the story really well. It feels like it's Stranger Things-esque. Obviously, Stranger Things came out way after the first It did, so I'm not saying this copies Stranger Things. What I'm saying is, what's it called? That it feels like it, you know. It's just a great story. I think the kids play really well together in terms of the different spots they have in the story. They're all very different people, but they're also similar in terms of like they're outcasts almost. So, what's your favorite USA state? I don't fucking know, honestly. Chad, I hope he does too. Not me, you. I'm kidding. Oh yeah, it was like a series that was compressed. Yeah, it's true. But same thing. Close enough. Great movie. A Quiet Place Part 2. I am so sorry I didn't react to this because so many people asked me. They're like, yo, you reacted to the first one. Why don't you react to the second one? And I'm like, have you seen everything on the list? Well, no shit. It's my top 100 favorite movies. How can it be my favorite movie if I haven't seen it? I don't know. But yeah, I saw this in theaters because I was in the city. I was with some friends, and I was like, I want to see this movie. It's in theaters. We all want to see it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, sorry guys, I have to film a reaction to it, so I can't see it with you. Like, I'm not gonna do that. So I went to see it. Had a good time. Absolutely loved it. Not as good as the first one, but still really damn good. This John Krasinski just does it. He's just incredible. I really didn't expect to like him that much as director, and he's incredible. So I love him. Are you watching any good TV shows at the moment? Well, The Walking Dead comes back in a few days, so Walking Dead, I guess, could be considered that. I don't watch a lot of TV shows, though. I'll admit that. They take too long to watch, you know? I just had a voice crack, so that was beautiful, wasn't it? But yeah, I didn't do a reaction for it, so I do apologize for that. But like I said, I just wanted to watch it. See, no, it came out in 2021, but it says 2020 because I think it released earlier in some places. I think. I don't really know what happened with that, but I thought you were just reacting to the IMDb list. Oh no, this is my own list. I just made it on IMDb because you can make your own lists. Get Smart TV show. Is there a movie called? I feel like I saw a movie called Get Smart once with what was it? Steve Carell. I think I've seen that. It did come out this year. It just IMDb, I guess, is counting when it like came out in some other place maybe. Or because it was originally supposed to come out in 2020 and they haven't updated it yet. That's possible. All right, well, next up, Titanic. Or it's not, I always say Titanic, but isn't it just Titanic? It is Titanic. Yeah, why do I'm not pronouncing it wrong. Am I stupid? I have wanted to watch Superman and Lois. There's a lot of those DC shows I've wanted to watch, but I've never got around to it. Can you rank the screams? From best to worst, 1, 4, 2, 3. But Titanic, I've been recommended this a lot. I've already seen it though. When I was younger, I've seen it more since then, and obviously it's a classic. No shit, long movie, long ass movie, but it knows what it is. It does a great job at it, and I think the last half is obviously the most exciting part. But even the first half builds up the characters really well, so you kind of care about what's going on later on. But I love how good this movie looks. Like the way the boat crash, like not crashes, but well, it crashes at first, and then like when it comes apart, like, oh my god, it's so well done, so well done. Is it bad that I haven't seen it? I mean, you always have the time to watch it. It's on Stars right now, so if you have Stars, you can watch it. It's really good though. How couldn't this list be complete if Minions Rise of Gru hasn't released yet? Honestly, if I were to rank the ghost faces, it's probably the same list as the one I just did, like in terms of my favorite movies. Like I still think I would say Billy and Stu are the best. And then Jill, and then it goes, the order of the way I love the movies, You think James Cameron's the worst writer and director ever? Look, you might not like him. Like you might think he's like overrated. But I feel like even saying he's the worst writer and director ever, like even though it's an opinion, I can't take that seriously because he's obviously going to be better than like a guy who's never even done it, like a movie. You know what I mean? Like a guy who's never done like a big budget movie. Like he's definitely better than like most people. Like just even objectively speaking. But I could respect the opinion if you think he's like overrated though. I could respect it. But personally, I do like a lot of his movies, so I can't agree. But that's what opinions are about, All right, next one. Next one's going to surprise some people. Are you saving the VOD? I will. It's going to be in 2 parts, though, because the first VOD, I had to end it halfway through because my power went out. But I'll save them in 2 parts. So yes, I will. Next up, this one's going to surprise some people. It's going to surprise people. It's a movie that's not rated well, but I don't get why not. Curse of Chucky. Curse of Chucky. I mean, look. This movie, to me, brought Chucky back to its roots and did it so goddamn well. The only issue I have with this movie is they used some CGI in some places that does not need it at all. But that's about it. In terms of the story and how it plays out perfectly as a Chucky movie. And I went into it thinking it was going to be a reboot, but it actually plays really well as a sequel. And it kind of shows off a lot of stuff that we never even knew happened before the first film. Like, it plays really well as a sequel. And what I love about it so much is because Chucky, he's a freaking doll. He's not that threatening. So you have to make the movies with characters who are vulnerable to him. Like children. That's why a lot of the movies have kids in them, because that makes sense. The kid could be more vulnerable to a doll like that. It's hard to take it seriously when you have a grown-ass man getting killed by this doll. Like, it's just not, you know what I mean? But this movie did a great job of having the main character be in a wheelchair, so she has a lot of trouble getting away from Chucky in a lot of different instances, and it actually feels tense and crazy, and everyone thinks she's a crazy psychopath because obviously it's a doll. It plays out so well. I didn't like Cult of Chucky, the one that came right after this, and I thought it kind of ruined what this one was building up. I don't want to say I hated Cult of Chucky, but I didn't like it that much. I think it really destroyed what Curse was building up, and I just think Don Mancini he had something good going for it here. He really did. I thought Curse of Chucky was a solid movie. What's the scariest movie you've ever seen? Sinister. Sinister's got to be the scariest movie I've ever seen. I recommend watching it though. It's a really good movie. It's just scary as fuck. Not on the list though. I didn't like it that much. It's just scary. Oh yeah, I'm watching the new Child's Play show for sure. I'm gonna be reacting to that. Assuming I can find the episodes online somewhere. I'm not sure where I can find them because I know they're gonna be on cable, but I don't know where else. Okay, this one is gonna piss off. I don't know if Martin's still here, but it's gonna piss off Martin. Friday the 13th, the remake, not the original, the remake. It's gonna piss off Martin. So this is the one case of like any of those classic horror movies where I think the remake is much better than the original. Again, I don't want to say much better, but it's better. It's better. It just is. All right. The Friday the 13th, the original, it's a classic. It does a great job with what it's trying to do. I love Martin. But this one, if you want to watch a Jason movie, obviously this is the best one to watch for you, I would say. It really is. It's the perfect Jason movie to me. It's still not my favorite movie with Jason in it. We'll get to that later. But I like a lot of them though. I think part 4, part 2, part 6, they're all really great. But I just think this one does everything so much better. Because it's just, I don't know, there's something about the older Friday the 13th films that feel like they felt like they were less well put together than some of the other horror films at that time, like the Halloween movies or like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Those movies felt a little bit better made. Friday the 13th felt like they were really low budget and almost, not all of them, hear me out, there were some of them that were really great, but they always felt so damn like cheesy almost. And I think as the series went on, they made him more intimidating, and the story made more sense as well, because there's things that make no sense in the beginning. You have like Jason as a kid coming out of the water still as like a zombie, but then he's not really there, but he is really there. There's just some things that just don't make sense. I think a lot of people would agree with me, even the people who love those classic movies for what they did. It's still like, you know what I mean? I still love them, but I like the remake more. I just do. War for the Planet of the Apes. This one I reacted to on the channel back last year. And this shit was good. It's not my favorite Planet of the Apes, but this one had one of the saddest endings to a movie I've seen. Not one of the saddest endings. It was kind of a bittersweet ending, I guess. But it made me tear up a little bit, which is more than most movies do. Just the character of Caesar himself is something that I just loved watching, you know? It just did such a good job of building up this character throughout 3 movies to get to him to this point where he's this father and a wife, and a lot of people die. A lot of his family dies. And he's like in this completely new position now where he's still trying to lead his family, because it is still his family, even though they're not, all his, first family. All the apes are really his family at the end of the day. And the way they all come together in this movie and they kind of just survive till the end, I don't know. I really like it. Did you see all the Planet Apes? No, I didn't watch the prequels. The 80 movies, or not, no, these are prequels. I didn't watch the original ones from the 80s. No, I haven't yet. I'm going to at some point, but I didn't yet. Not yet. I don't even have to blow my nose, but my nose itches, and I don't want to pick it, so I'm just doing that to like stop the itch. BO3 versus IW. I love both of them, but BO3 by a little bit. Next up, another movie that I don't hear people talking about too much, In Time. Never hear people talking about this one. I don't know how popular it is, but it came out around that same time as like Source Code and Inception, and that time where like a lot of movies were coming out where they were very like sci-fi action type movies, and I loved it. I want to see another movie like this. It was such a fantastic concept for a movie. I would love, actually, I think a TV series would work even better. So essentially, the whole universe of this movie is you have time instead of money, right? They don't use money, they use time as a currency. And time also is how much you have left to die. So let's say I have 7 days on my everyone has it like on their arm. You can see it physically. If I have 7 days, it counts down 7 days, like a timer. And if that 7 days runs out, I die. The only way to get more time is by doing things that we would normally do in real life to get money. So you would work a job and you would get more time. So you basically have to work to stay alive. If you stop working, you don't make any currency, you die. So if I want to go buy a cup of coffee, it'll cost me 5 minutes of my life, but I earn that time back by work. It's such an amazing concept. I liked the movie. I don't think it was the best landing ever. I kind of agree with that. It could have been better, but I still think with what it was doing, it still did it really well. And I want to see another movie or show based on this universe because it is such a great universe to me. That's such an interesting concept, you know? Like, you could also share time, like just like you share money. So, like, if I see you have like 10 years, you can give me some of your time so I can have some time, you know? And it's a very much a political movie in the way it plays on like, you know, the rich gets richer. It really plays a lot with a lot of economic political things. Got about 2 hours left, but the way this is, I know I'm going slow, man. Man of Steel is at 56. I recently talked about this when I ranked the DCEU, but yeah, Man of Steel. To me, the best Superman movie. One of the best origin stories out there. I don't really understand a lot of the hate it gets. Makes no sense to me. It's a really solid superhero movie. And yeah, it's gonna be there. I don't really have much else to say about it, to be honest. Because I only reason I don't want to talk about it is because I literally just did on my ranking. I literally just reviewed this on my DCEU ranking video. So if you want to hear my thoughts, go there. Because I don't feel like repeating myself. But you guys know why I like this, I'm sure. It should be higher. Maybe. Next up, another animated movie. Up. Yeah, this one is I've seen people say this one's overrated. They say only the first like 10 minutes is good with the whole scene with his wife. That's bullshit though. The whole movie's great. Come on now. Come on. It's one of those classic Pixar movies that just actually it's not that classic. It came out more recently than a lot of the other classic ones, but it's just one of the best. I love the story. I love the bond between Carl and the kid. I forget the kid's name. What was the kid's name? I don't remember. I haven't seen it in a while, but it was such a well. It was one of those movies that has a lot of like themes to it that's like too deep for kids. You know, like it's not even a movie that like I feel like kids could watch and be like, oh, like you know, really, what's the word? Relate to as much as I feel like adults would relate to it. You know, I have not seen Deja Vu. No, I like Denzel Washington though. So, all right, Martin, here you go. I got Halloween right here for you. I got your original Halloween here. I think this is the only Halloween on this list. I think. I'm trying to think if I have. No, yeah, this is my favorite Halloween. So, yeah, it's the only one on there. I do also like the 2018 Halloween, and even Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007. I actually like a bit. Halloween 4 is also really good, but this one is my favorite out of all of them. It was just the original. So like it did a lot of the stuff. It was doing a lot of the stuff that a lot of the other movies try to replicate, but this one I feel like did it in a very distinct way, and it just worked so well. I love the music too. Like everything about the soundtrack in this movie is fucking great. Gotta dip, my friend. Film selection is awesome. Thank you, man. I will see you later. Thank you for tuning in. Love you again. Good thing, man. Good thing. But yeah, there's not much else to say about it. You guys know. Donald Pleasance is great in this as well. Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis. It's the one that I felt like just did everything right. This is the oldest movie I have on this list, I think. Yeah, I don't think I have anything before 78, so yeah. Keep that in mind. But still, fantastic. Which means I don't have Jaws. Yeah, I don't have Jaws on this list. Someone asked that if Jaws is going to be here. I don't. I like Jaws. I just didn't. I didn't think it would be in the top 100. If I was to be ranking this on the most like iconic and classic movies, it would definitely be up there. But this is my personal list, so Jaws didn't make it. Next one might surprise some people. Nah, actually, this probably wouldn't. If you're a big fan of horror, you probably know this movie's well loved. Actually, is this movie well? I don't even know. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Let me know. Dream Warriors, because I've heard from some people that they absolutely love this. It's one of their favorite nightmare movies, but then there's people who tell me they absolutely hate it. So I'm not sure, but I feel like it's mostly appreciated more than a lot of the other movies, other than the original from this franchise. What's your favorite city? I haven't been to that many cities, but I guess New York. No Star Wars 1977? Unfortunately, no. That might surprise people. I have it lower than Rogue One on my ranking. I know. It would be my top like 120, 110. It'd probably like a 105 or something. You know, just extend a couple more that I have it there, but I didn't. The Thing. Actually, I don't think I have The Thing on this list, even though I really, really love The Thing. It's so hard to not put movies on here. It really is, because it's like I love a lot of these, but The Thing I think is another thing. Just like it just would be like under 100, I would say. I'd say it's one of the more loved Nightmare on Elm Street movies. It's just I really like the whole atmosphere of it, how it's put into a what's it called? A psych ward, and you have these people who are in this mental hospital, and they're like going crazy because of these dreams, and people think they're crazy because of it, and they all can relate to that. And I like how they all kind of fight together, and it just works out really well. Not a fan of a Nightmare on Elm Street movies? Then get the hell out of here. No, I'm kidding. Nah, it's probably my favorite, second favorite horror franchise, maybe. I don't know. I just love dreams. I just love the idea of dreams in movies that have anything to do with dreams. So it definitely helps that a lot. All right. I also don't see Now You See Me 1 and 2 yet. I haven't seen either of those. All right, next up. I'm surprised this movie has a low IMDb score. Actually, it's not that low, but Air Force One. Just saw it for the first time literally yesterday, and it made my list. Literally made my list after seeing it for the first time just yesterday. But yeah, I love Harrison Ford, so I expected to like it. And it's like basically Die Hard on a plane, and that's enough for me to probably like it. So I was really excited, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do, and even a little bit better than what I wanted it to do. It's rated R, so it does a lot of that stuff really well. Get off my plane. That was a great scene. That was a great freaking scene. The whole thing was just great. Like when I was watching it, I was like really excited to see like Harrison Ford kick ass, because I was assuming he would. But then they revealed him as the president, and I'm like, oh, that's disappointing. He's the president. And instinctively, we're conditioned to think presidents are like not strong in terms of their like fighting abilities. So I'm just like, oh, he's just gonna be a sideline character or something. But why is he on the front of the thing? I'm like, oh, what the hell? And then we find out that he was like a veteran, and then he kicks ass in the movie, and I'm like, this is freaking great. Oh, I apologize. I let what's it called, the community tab know. That to me, that's the best place to let like everyone know. I should probably put it in more places, but definitely the notification what's it called, ticker on YouTube's the best place to always get them. Assuming YouTube, because sometimes YouTube's annoying and they don't even like notify people, which bothers me. It's like YouTube, if they click the notification bell, they should always get the notification. But for some reason it doesn't go through, which is always annoying. But I'll let Patreon know as well. I usually try to let as many people as know. This was kind of a last second thing too, because I wasn't expecting to do it today. Clear and Present Danger, not heard of it, but this one I liked a lot. So yeah, I mentioned that when I was watching it. I'm like, isn't that the guy? Isn't that the Give Me Rent guy from Spider-Man? That was great. All right, 51 is gonna be Speed. I'm actually interested because I don't know how many movies on this list are ones that I've reacted to. You know, it's got to be at least like 30 or so of the movies. I keep tuning in when you're almost done. It makes me sad. Well, we're actually only halfway through this, so we probably have another, I would say, hour left at least. Yeah, at least another hour. Assume my voice doesn't like die until then, because my voice is already about to die. But Speed was one that I freaking loved, man. This one was like, these are just my type of movies right here, you know. So I fully expected to like it as well, but not as much as I actually did like it. You know, I did not expect to like it that much. It was, especially that middle part where they hopped on the bus, or you know, Keanu Reeves hopped on the bus. I forget the character's name, but Keanu Reeves, that's what I'm gonna call him. He hops on the bus, and the intensity of that situation was just so high. Like deep down, I'm like, I know it's not gonna explode. I know it's not, but like, what the fuck? What if it does? You know? And I'm watching. It's still so intense the whole way through. No matter what I feel like will probably happen based on the story, it still does a great job of making it really intense. And you have to worry about other things going on because it's like he hits that like little baby stroller, but then they reveal it's just cans. Like that was a little great trick there. I like that. I think it was just played out like a really really good movie. I have not seen John Wick. No, I'm gonna do that soon though as reactions. Those movies do seem like I would love them though. They're those fun rated R action movies, so I'm sure I'd love the shit out of them. Next up, Aquaman. So yeah, there's a couple of DC movies on this list still left to go. Aquaman's one of them. Like I said with the other DCEU movies, I just reviewed them all on my ranking video like a few days ago, so I don't really want to talk about them too much right now because I just talked about them. But Aquaman is one of the best looking movies I've ever seen. By far the most beautifully shot, not beautifully shot, but beautifully, like, it's a beautiful movie. I don't know what else to say. Like, it just looks so good, especially Atlantis, the colors and just the detail and all the little things. It just looks beautiful. I don't know what else to say about it, honestly. Next up, Home Alone. This is obviously a classic. I think this would be most people's top 100 if you've seen it. It's one of the only like child-friendly movies I have here other than some of the animated ones. It just does a lot of things good. Like this is a movie that you got to show like everyone. I feel like same with like Back to the Future. It's one of those ones that you kind of just have to see. And it's really fun. Everything with the traps in the house and such towards the latter half is I think where most people love this movie, obviously, and I would agree with that. The second one's great too. I don't have it on this list, but that one's great as well. I think this one just did it a little bit better. It was also the first one, so the ideas were more original. But the second one, they kind of repeated a lot of the ideas that were already done in the first one. So like it was kind of like, you're just kind of redoing what you already did, but in a different way. I think most would agree this first one just does it better though. Yeah. It's basically Saw for kids. At least one Christmas movie. Hey, we got another Christmas movie coming up actually, so Keep that in mind. Oh, really? You live near the house? That's crazy. It's only going to be one on this list. There's only going to be one. You think it's more beloved? Really? I'm not sure. I think they're both great. This one just more original because a lot of the second one, like I said, just kind of redid what a lot of this one did. So it is what it is. I might need more water soon because my throat's starting to ask for it. All right, this next one, in my opinion, is the most underrated movie of all time. I'll just get that out there. I think this movie gets hate for the stupidest reasons. And I will never understand why. But it's also kind of a bias because I grew up watching this when I was rather young, and there's a lot of reasons why I was attached to it. It's going to be 2012. People call this movie over the top, stupid. Yes, it is stupid. Yes, it is over the top. But who cares, bro? It's a movie about the world ending with crazy disasters. It's supposed to be over the top. But I can't tell you how scared I was of this actually happening. Because think about it, I was 9 years old when this came out, and I watched it. I was like, yo, is this shit actually going to happen 3 years from now? I really thought it would. And I was just like, the first time I watched it, my eyes were glued to the screen when that scene happened in what's it called, Los Angeles, and the whole earthquake was happening and the ground was falling, and the effects were actually really freaking good, especially for 2009. Like, it looked pretty real, and then you had some later scenes. Like, it was such a well versed movie. Good characters too that I cared about. I still think the one stupid thing was I can't, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil anything, but there were some things that happened with characters later that was like, are you kidding me? Like, what, you would really do that after that happened? But you might know what I'm talking about if you've seen it, but I'm not going to spoil things. They lost your hit Aquaman, no black residue on him. That pissed me off. Oh well. I'll hydrate soon, don't worry. We'll do it in a little bit. We'll get to 45 and then I'll hydrate, alright? We're almost there. 47. Jurassic World. So no, this is not my favorite Jurassic Park movie. There's obviously another one that's a bit higher, but Jurassic World, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Have you seen The Day After Tomorrow? I have. A long time ago, though, so I don't remember it that much, but I do remember liking it. Oh yeah, the science was very over the top, but like I said, I didn't give a shit. I loved it anyways. Jurassic World, to me, was the best sequel of Jurassic Park. It was the one that kind of did what I wanted it to, because I was always asking, where the hell is this park going to get made? And they did, and they made the Jurassic World Park in the movie, and it was breathtaking seeing that in this movie. And yeah, some of the CGI on the dinosaurs, I'll admit, was a little bit iffy. Obviously not as good as a lot of the practical stuff that went on in the original. But does that ruin the movie? No, it doesn't. Why would that ruin the movie? Still so much great to this movie. Chris Pratt, I love Chris Pratt. He's great in this. And I think it had some of the best action as well out of any of the Jurassic Park movies, especially that ending. I think you all know what I'm talking about. I have obviously a reaction to this movie on this channel, so if you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. I just do. But I don't like it more than the first one, though, so keep that in mind. You rank Jurassic Park as 1, 2, 4, 3, 5. I think I would say, we'll see 1 a little bit later. I'd say 1, 4, 2, then 5 and 3, maybe? Not sure. Something like that. All right. Next up, this one might surprise you guys. Cloudy with the Chance of Meatball. Y'all might be like, what? What the shit? Definitely biased as well, because it came out, I was 9 years old. I mean, come on. I read the book too before this came out, and I was so excited to see this. it's food falling from the sky. I mean, come on now. Like you can't tell me this is not a fun movie to watch. You should react to the secret of the I am. I don't even know what that is, bro. What's up, Jack? I am back. Power decided to come back, thankfully. It is a goated movie. It even with its ridiculous. I mean, it's an animated movie, so obviously it's gonna be ridiculous. It was able to do a really good father son story in it and actually be like serious. Like I take this movie seriously. Like it is has serious concepts in it, even though it's a ridiculous movie. You know, Martin's not happy about that one. Interested to see if you have any Stephen King based films. I had it a little bit lower on the list. I think that's the only Stephen King. I don't have The Shining on the list. I don't have Carrie either. But I had it. Not in the top 10 though. But this one, it's just a good movie, man. It's just a good movie. There's not much else to say about it. It makes you hungry too. Makes you want to eat food. Literally food falling from the sky. I would love to see a live action version of this movie. Like a live action movie with food falling from the sky. That'd be great. I really think they should do that. Have you watched Parasite? I have not. All right, we'll do one more and then I'm going to get a drink. 45 Brothers. This one is very different than a lot of the other movies on this list. It's not your typical movie that I'd normally put up here because it's a lot more serious. Well, I mean, I have a lot of serious movies here, but it's not an action movie. It says it's part of its action, but I guess there's a couple action scenes in it, I guess, but it's more of a drama than anything. I haven't seen Shawshank or Green Mile, so those are movies I want to watch though. I will be watching those soon, so I actually couldn't have them on the list. Stand By Me, I haven't seen it in a while actually, so I barely remember it, but I do remember liking it. But it's not in my top 100. But yeah, Brothers to me was like one of the most impactful stories. It's essentially, I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's not that popular, I don't think, but it's popular enough. Tobey Maguire's in it, by the way, and Jake Gyllenhaal and Natalie Portman, so already a great cast right off the bat. But it's about this character who's married. Toby's married to Natalie in the movie, and he goes off to war, right, in Afghanistan, and well, I guess not really to war, but you know what I mean. And they think he's dead, right? They think he's dead, but he's actually captured, and his brother is basically looking after his family, looking after his wife, and there's some tension between them. They start to kind of fall. You can see they kind of fall for each other, and I don't want to spoil things. I feel like I'm spoiling things when I say this. The movie's fantastic. Yes, Tobey Maguire's performance is amazing. Agreed. That's all I'll say. I don't want to spoil things, so I'll just leave it at that. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna be watching Shawshank and Green Mile on the channel for sure. Crazy ending. Yeah, most of it was pretty crazy. It was just a really good performance by Tobey Maguire, for sure. People underrate him as an actor a lot, to be honest. So I love that movie. I'm gonna get a drink real quick. I'll just let you guys see the next spot, and then I'll come back and talk about it because this next one's gonna be interesting to talk about. So let's that's a 37 Metascore for this one. Holy shit! Critics ripped this movie to shreds, but you guys can talk about that while I go get water real quick. Look at this shit. How fucking beautiful that looks. You can't even hear me. Look how beautiful that looks. It's cookie dough ice cream right here. I had to get it. I haven't eaten ice cream in like weeks. I had to. I got a lot though, so I'm probably gonna kill myself with this because my stomach doesn't like ice cream. But do I care? I don't really care, to be honest. Yes, Freddy vs. Jason above the OG Halloween. Hell to the yes, bro. Hell to the yes. Oh my god. It's just such, again, it's a fun movie. You don't take it seriously. You just go into it and you're like, bro, it's Freddy and Jason fighting each other. Like, what else do you want? And it also has a lot of your normal Friday the 13th and what's it called? Nightmare on Elm Street type slasher kills in it too, like throughout the movie. So it does all that rather well. I'm gonna take a bite. Holy fuck, that's cold, bro. Ugh. It's so cold. Why is it like frozen? I know ice cream is supposed to be cold, but like it's extra cold today. I don't love you anymore. Okay. Yeah, no. I like this movie a lot. Um Simple as that. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man from 2012. I think it's an underrated movie. I think it's underrated. It's not my favorite Spider-Man. There's a couple more Spider-Mans on the list. Is there? I think there's. I know I have at least one more left. I'm not too sure, but The Amazing Spider-Man. I think Andrew Garfield is a really good Spider-Man. I think he did even better in the sequel, but I think the sequel had a lot of issues with other things, like some of the villains. But this one I think was a little bit better with its pacing and with its story and the motives of the villain. For someone who doesn't like rom-coms, you got one popping up in the chat. Where you are a slasher lover. Yeah, I like a lot of them. The only popular slasher franchise I haven't seen now would be the Texas Chainsaw ones. Ice cream tends to be cold. Maybe because I just had mint ice cream, or not mint, I had mint gum, makes it a little bit colder. Okay, but what I like about the movie the most, though, I think it has the best relationship between Peter and and someone else, right? Peter and Gwen, I think, had really good chemistry. I think Peter and Uncle Ben in that story. I love the original Spider-Man from 2002. I do. I think this one does it a little bit better, though. I think it does the origin story better. I think Green Goblin's a better villain than Lizard, but I think this one does a better job with the Peter Parker stuff. I do. What do you think of the film Crazy Stupid Love? Have not seen that. Edge of Tomorrow, have not seen that either, but I will 100% be doing Edge of Tomorrow. I want to see that so badly. I really do. This one's, yeah, it's just a great movie. We have another origin story coming up next, another superhero origin story, so I might as well just get right to it. That's Batman Begins. Batman Begins is not my favorite Batman movie, but it's within the top 3 favorite Batman movies, so it's pretty high up here. I mean, that's crazy. The Dark Knight trilogy, all 3 of them are within my top 50 favorite movies of all time. So that's telling you something. That's telling me that I love that damn trilogy. But Batman Begins is my least favorite out of all of them, which is, I don't know if that's pop. No, I think most people say the Rises is the worst one, but I like Rises a little bit more than most people do. But Batman Begins, it's an incredible origin story. Obviously, everything that happens with the Gotham and the villain himself, I think Scarecrow, he does interesting stuff. I think he could have been a little bit better, though, just a tiny bit better, but he still was really great. I think Christopher Nolan, after seeing Interstellar, I've only seen 5 of his movies. But even just after seeing five of his movies, I think Christopher Nolan is my second or maybe even first favorite director of all time. Because we're at the number 42 spot. There's five movies, spoiler, but there's five movies going forward here that we haven't even gotten to yet that are all Christopher Nolan movies. So, yeah, I that kind of proves that I like his movies. I've not seen a movie from him yet that I haven't liked more than my top 42. So, yeah, that's telling me something. That's telling me something. But I still want to see some of his other ones as well. I do think the action could be better in Batman Begins, though. Even the whole Dark trilogy as a whole, it's not really about the action, though. So I'm not too mad about that. I do think like the Batman and Batman v Superman has some better action scenes, but I really do think everything else about it, like the story, how it plays out, it's so well done. It's so well done. Just join your Patreon to watch Air Force One. We'll watch it after this live. Thank you so much, Booth. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoy it. All right, next up, we got to get another Star Wars movie in there. Empire Strikes Back. It's actually not my favorite Star Wars movie, which I think my favorite Star Wars movie might piss some people off. There's gonna be mayhem in this chat when I get to my favorite Star Wars movie, but The Empire Strikes Back. I mean, come on. Yes, it's a classic. We all know it. It's phenomenal. I feel like most people might have it even higher than 41, but it's still a really high spot for what it is. I think it's one of my favorite movies from the 80s. Not my favorite though. There's a couple that are a little bit higher up here. But I mean, for what it did for Star Wars, because A New Hope was great, right? But I feel like this one just kind of elevated everything A New Hope did to another level. Oh, the ice cream's really good right now. I'm loving this shit. I'm loving every little bit of this ice cream. It's really helping my throat. I'm not gonna lie, it's making it a lot better. Inception top 30 for show. You might be happy. It might be even higher than that. And obviously the stuff with the Vader at the end and the big twist. I mean, it's a classic. I want to put it higher, but like again, it's my list. If I was to be rating this a little bit differently, it would probably be higher. But like, it's just my favorites. There's 40 movies I just like a little bit more. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Another classic coming up here: Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Now, you might be wondering, does that mean that The Temple of Doom is my favorite Indiana Jones movie? Hell yes, it does. Which is even higher than this one. It's unpopular, I know, but I'll give you my reasons why when we get to it. But this one is still amazing, regardless. It's still such a well-rounded movie. The relationship between Indy and his father is perfectly done. I mean, Sean Connery in this movie, fantastic, obviously. Harrison Ford, never not gonna like watching him on screen, so that's always a treat. It definitely plays a lot better from the first one than the second one does, because the second one's a prequel, you know, it's not supposed to be a sequel. So it doesn't really feel like it's connected to the first one at all, but this one feels more connected in a lot of ways, has a lot more similar story elements to it than what Temple of Doom had. But we'll get to Temple of Doom later. There's reasons why I like it a little bit more, and we'll get into that. But this one is still such a fantastic movie regardless. And I really wish I haven't seen them so I could react to them for you guys for the first time, but I can't do that because I've already seen them. Indiana Jones was like my childhood franchise, just like Star Wars was. So I watched these a lot when I was younger. Same with Spider-Man, same with Rocky. Those were the movies I watched all the time. I have not seen The Room. I want to watch it though because I want to see how stupid it is. Okay. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is next. We got another comic book movie up in here, and it speaks for itself. It's not my favorite MCU. We'll get to my favorite MCU later on, but it's Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It's got a lot of grounded stuff to it, like a lot of political stuff like with the American government and stuff. And if you like a more grounded MCU superhero movie, this is probably one for you. I mean, the Russo brothers just know how to direct, that's for sure. I mean, I think all Russo brothers movies from the MCU are mostly the best ones. So that tells you something. That tells you that they're really damn good at what they do. The action is without a doubt some of the best in the franchise, like especially the hand-to-hand combat against Winter Soldier in that one scene was incredible when he had like the knife and he was like trying to like stab him with it. That was some good shit. Obviously you had Black Widow in it. She was great as well. A lot of stuff with Fury going on. It was just a lot of just deep stuff that really had a lot of good things going on for the MCU. So I love it a lot. It's definitely a lot of people's favorites, but I have a couple other MCU movies that I like a little more. Any interest in getting a PO box? I don't know. I've never thought of that, but like, I don't see why I shouldn't. You know, I've seen too many horror stories of people getting like shit sent to them in a PO box, though. I don't think any of you would do that, but you know, you never know. You never know. Nah, maybe I will one day, though. I don't know. It does kind of feel like a Nolan Batman movie in a way, yeah. Next one. One of my favorite comedies. It's not really a comedy to me, but because I like it for other reasons, because I don't think it's that funny. But it's Click. I can care less about Adam Sandler movies. I really don't care about Adam Sandler movies at all. This is the only one that I love. It's not because it's funny, because it's really not that funny. I don't laugh that much in this movie, right? But the idea of it's so interesting, and the themes that is presented in this movie, it's all about it's all about enjoy your time, right? It's all about don't let, like, I don't know how to word this. I love Click. I love it too. I get triggered a lot during this, so it's hard to sleep. This movie is about, okay, long story short, this guy is Adam Sandler. I don't even know the character's name in the movie because it's not really that important. He gets this remote, and the remote allows him to do things like changes things in life. He can fast forward time, he can turn back time, he can pause time, he can change the language of people, he can pause people in their place, do all sorts of things. But then it starts like kind of, it starts going bad basically. And the lessons that this man learns at the end of this movie is just so good. I love the themes behind it. It's a fun movie to watch. So I have a good time with it. It's a movie I rewatched plenty of times. And I actually cry at the end of this movie. I do. It's got a sad scene. Adam Sandler, I don't think he's that great of an actor, but he did a fantastic job in this movie. Really damn good. So, gotta give him credit where credit is due, man. He did a good job. This is, I think, his best movie out there by far. I think Grown Ups is okay too. It's not really that funny either. I find the only funny movies to me are like the really, really funny movies that just either go crazy wild or it's like hard R, like dark humor. And I feel like Adam Sandler movies don't usually do that. So yeah, the hospital scene with his dad, yep. A lot of those scenes were really just, it's just a great movie, man. Pink Panther wanted, I feel like I've seen those. I don't know. All right. Next up, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. I like this one more than the Empire Strikes Back, and let me explain why. Okay, I think it makes sense why I like this one more because I grew up. Yeah, it's about doing things that don't matter. Yeah, you're right. That's true. Wasting your life doing things that don't matter. That's basically what it's about. But yeah, it does such a great job of, what's the word, ending the prequel trilogy, even if I think the prequels before it were terrible. I think 1 and 2 are just bad movies, but 3 actually wraps it up decently. And if 1 and 2 were actually good, I think this could have been a lot better. But unfortunately, it just was coming off of 2 bad movies. But what I was saying before is because I grew up with this, It makes sense why I prefer it over Empire Strikes Back. It just makes sense. That's just how it is. I guarantee you, if I was born in 1985 or closer to when Empire Strikes came back, I would probably like that one more. It's just how it is, you know. So that's why kids my age usually prefer this one, and then people a little bit older than me usually prefer Empire Strikes Back. It's just how our generations change and such. But it just makes sense why I like this one more. But you might be surprised to learn that this isn't my number one Star Wars movie. Actually, there's one more that's a little bit higher. You know, it's gonna piss people off. It's gonna piss people off. We'll get to it eventually. We'll get to it eventually. Like Star Wars for me, a lot of the movies in it, I don't even like that much. Like I really don't. But I love the franchise. I love the universe, which is why I think it's one of my favorite franchises, right? Because a lot of their movies have a lot of messy stuff going on. Some of the dialogue, like even this one, has got a lot of bad dialogue. But a lot of that doesn't even matter at the end of the day because of just the universe it's in. It's more of an experience than it is like a good story, really. You know what I mean? So, I love Star Wars. Return of the Jedi is my favorite too. Oh, you thought no, that's not the one that's left. Oh, they don't even know. Ready Player One is actually up here at 36. I recently watched this for the first time. Was not expecting to like it that much though. But I like video games a lot, so I mean it makes sense. So I completely understand why I liked it so much, but it had such... I saw some people who were saying, oh, it's not as good as the book. Well, I haven't read the fucking book, so I don't care. I always see those comments. It's like, if I haven't read the book, it doesn't make a difference. But even if I have read the book, I usually don't compare movies based on how good they are compared to the book. I kind of compare them on their own terms. And I think this was a really fun story. So, actually... You guys want to find out my favorite Star Wars movie? It's actually the next spot, so we could show it off. But let me explain. Let me explain before you freak out. Just let me explain it. All right. Just let me explain it. Just let me explain it. Well, it's got to be one from the sequels because what else is left? You know what I mean? Because I already mentioned that I didn't like 1 and 2. It's obviously not going to be Solo. And A New Hope, I said before that it's not on the list, even though I love A New Hope, it's just not on the list. But hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. I think this is the least hated out of the sequels, so I'm not going to piss people off that much, because I think, obviously, I didn't like The Last Jedi. I didn't really like The Rise of Skywalker. I think The Force Awakens had something going for it. Now, the only complaint I ever hear about this movie is that it's a rip-off of A New Hope. How can you rip off something that's in your same franchise? It's the same, yes, it's a similar story, but that's on purpose. They don't do that because they had ran out of ideas or whatever. They do that because they knew a new Star Wars movie, people are not going to like it if it's something wildly different. So they want to play it a little bit safer and did something that was familiar to us. And it actually brought us back into the Star Wars universe in a really good way. People loved the movie when it first came out. So it's got an 80 Metascore. It's got 7.8 IMDb. People actually like this movie a lot. They do. But when The Last Jedi came out, then everyone decided to say, oh, actually, that one was shit too. But like, I don't think anyone said it was shit when it was first out. You know, it took them till The Last Jedi came out for them to hate that. So... But why do I like it more than like 3 and 5 and such? That's where I think people are going to be like, what's going on there? I really actually do like what they were building up. I think Han Solo was at his best in this one, even though, yes, I love Han Solo in the original trilogy. No shit, he's one of the best parts about those movies. But his scene in this movie, we've all seen this movie, right? We've seen this all. I could spoil it, right? Like, you guys have all seen it. Han Solo's death is, in my opinion, the best scene in Star Wars history, and I'm not even exaggerating. It is Not a moment I like thought was unpredictable. It wasn't unpredictable. It was very predictable, but it was so well directed and just it was so different because yeah, Kylo Ren feels like a repeat of Darth Vader. He does. I'll admit. I think they did different things with him. They could have done different things with him. Unfortunately, 8 and 9 kind of just. I didn't like 8 and 9 that much. But 7, it knew what it was doing, and it did it well. And then you had Rey, right? Rey was the one who ended up being this person. Now, at the time, I was like, yeah, I don't really know why she is, what's going on. We obviously we learn later on why she is able to use the Force and all this. But at the time, I didn't really care about the explanation just yet because I knew we were going to get it later. So I was just enjoying it. And I thought her duel against Kylo Ren was great. Finn as a character, he was an interesting character in this one. I didn't think they did anything good with him later on. They kind of butchered his character later on, but in this one, they actually did some good stuff with him. He was a stormtrooper and decided to leave that to kind of start a new life because he didn't want to be a part of that shit anymore. I thought they did some good stuff with him. Leia, she was there, obviously. Luke, I kind of wish they showed more of Luke earlier in the movie, but I wouldn't have a problem with that if they did him better in the other ones, but they didn't, unfortunately. But this movie just, I don't have any flaws with it. I don't. It's the best looking Star Wars movie. Maybe not. I think Last Jedi might be better looking, actually. Even though I don't like The Last Jedi, it still has some amazing like shots and everything. I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a surprising pick, to be sure. It is. It is a surprising pick, but my ice cream's melting, bro. Yeah, I do think there's a better way they could have done these sequels, even this one, but for what it was, it's the one I enjoy the most. It is. I think it has the best pacing of any Star Wars movie, so the other ones, yeah, they tainted this one. I really don't think this should be connected to 8 and 9. It's such a different thing. It works. So, yeah, I'm just going to put that there. We'll move on. A Quiet Place, number 34. Watched this for the first time not too long ago. Love the concept, love the execution. I have part 2 on the list too. It's a little bit lower, but yeah, it's a freaking great movie. I don't know. There's not much else to say about it other than it's. Where are the other Harry Potter movies? Oh, there's I think one more on the list. Just one more. I only had 2 on the list, I think. I had Order of the Phoenix kind of lower. There's one more that's a little bit higher. I'm sure you can probably guess which one it is, to be honest, but yeah, Quiet Place I think has one of the most interesting concepts with these creatures that can only get you by sound. And they do a great job with directing this movie and using sound to their advantage because of everything that it does. My favorite are the sequels, but that being said, these don't touch the OGs and the prequels. See, I'll be honest, it's hard for me to pick. I think the original trilogy is definitely the best trilogy out of all of them, like as a whole, like consistently. But um, I think the sequels I would say are better than the prequels. Maybe not story wise, but execution wise, like idea wise, I think the prequel has a better universe, but 1 and 2, they're just not good movies. Like I don't know, it's just like they're just not good. Like I don't think The Last Jedi and even The Rise of Skywalker, I don't even think they're bad movies. They're just not good Star Wars movies. Like that's my issue with them. I just didn't think they were good for what Star Wars should be at that point. But as movies, they're actually pretty good. That's why I think a lot of casual viewers would definitely prefer those over the prequels because they're just better made movies. Better dialogue for sure. I mean, come on, the prequel dialogue was trash. But the prequel universe, especially with the Clone Wars TV show, just made that a lot more interesting, and I think made people prefer the prequels because of that. But without the Clone Wars TV show, I, I don't know if we'd really care much about the prequel era as much as we do. You know what I mean? Ice cream is God's gift, man. So yeah, Quiet Place, loved it. Next up, Saving Private Ryan. Also watched this for the first time recently, and probably the best war story, best World War II movie I've ever seen for sure. I haven't seen that many World War II movies. I've seen a couple here and there, but I would say this is my favorite World War II movie. It's it's one that had a lot of things going for it, especially because of the directing. Obviously, Steven Spielberg is probably one of the best directors of all time, so it just makes sense. The Clone Wars show must be tired from carrying the prequels on its shoulders. Exactly. Exactly. Kylo Ren carried the whole trilogy, pretty much. Yeah, he was the best part of it, so that's kind of true. But Tom Hanks, oh no, the cast, right? The cast of Saving Private Ryan, that is exactly what made it, I think. Oh no, the directing was probably more important, but the cast was huge as well. I mean, you had Tom Hanks, Matt Damon, just a lot of really solid actors. Even Vin Diesel was in it. So I just realized I don't have a single Vince Vaughn movie on this list. That's a tragedy. How could I not include Vince Vaughn on this at all? I love Vince Vaughn, but I guess none of his movies are top 100 worthy then. Yeah, I grew up on the prequels too, but I just can't say they're that good. They're really not. Episode 3 was definitely the best of them, though. Okay. Saving Private Ryan. You guys know how good this movie is, obviously. Die Hard is at 32. Also reacted to this. I'm sure you guys have probably seen that reaction. I don't know, maybe not. This one was phenomenal. Actually, I liked it more on second watch than I did on first, because I actually watched this again recently, and I liked it even more, to be honest. Watched Saving Private Ryan on my surround sound. Thought my room was being bombed. Yeah, Vince Vaughn, see, because he does mostly comedies, and I don't really like comedies that much. Like, I find them to be fun movies to watch and just laugh at, but I never feel like attached to them. Like, oh, I gotta put them on my top 100. Like, I never feel like I gotta put them that high. So, Wedding Crashers is one of my favorite of the Vince Vaughn movies. But he's just a funny guy. That's about it. Didn't expect it for 34. Did you expect it higher? Only one Die Hard. Unfortunately, I really do like 2 and 3, but they didn't make the cut. I did not ever see American History X, actually, so I don't know. I haven't seen The Green Mile either. I'm sorry. Not yet, at least. Not yet, at least. But yeah, no, Die Hard, it's exactly what you expect, and it's one of the best action movies of all time. That's all you gotta say, really. Bruce Willis, fantastic in this role. It's a classic. I think this is one of the most classic movies out there. Let's be real here. Next up, Silence of the Lambs. Silence of Thy Lambs. I kind of feel like I should put this one higher, to be honest. Nah, I think this is fine. I want to put it higher, but at the same time, it's like, now that fits. That fits. Because looking at the ones that are above it, like, yeah, it's hard to put them above. This one, though, I didn't really think I was gonna like it when I went into it. I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna like be whatever. But I was just in love with like everything with this movie. You had this character of that was played by Jodie Foster. I'm forgetting the character's name. The hell was her name in the movie? That doesn't matter. Whatever. The character Jodie Foster was playing. Wait, now I'm pissed off because how do I forget this? I'm looking it up. Oh, fucking Clarice. Yeah, no shit. Okay. All right, you had Clarice, which I think is one of the best characters from the like horror. I would consider it as a horror movie. I think a lot of people wouldn't, but I would. And it was a crime movie. You know, there's a mystery going on. What's going on? How do you find this Buffalo Bill guy? And the shit with Hannibal Lecter felt so like important to everything. I was like, how is he going to play a role in the story? But then it works so perfectly with everything he's talking about in the movie. It's one of those movies you really have to pay attention to. You have to have your eye on the damn screen listening to it 24/7 because if you miss something, you're like, what the fuck? So you have to really listen to it. Didn't they make a Clarice show recently? I just realized they made a Clarice show recently. I haven't seen it. I don't know if anyone likes it or not, but whatever. That's besides the point. No, I've not seen any of the other Silence of the Lambs movies, so I have not seen Red Dragon. But yeah, the movie, especially in the last half, when that scene, oh my god, when Hannibal Lecter escapes and he puts the guy's skin on his face to like get himself in the thing, that was fantastic. And then she goes to Buffalo Bill's house, and they have that little twist there as well, and then where it's like they reveal that she's at the house rather than the cops. So well done, man. Yeah, don't want to sound like a yes man. I would say it's horror, yeah. Some people say it's not, but oh well. It's close enough. It's got horror elements to it, for sure. Alright. Next up. Has the Denzel movie ever been on the list yet? I don't think so. I love Denzel Washington, though. Like, he's in a lot of movies I really like, but not that made the cut, though. Have you seen Candyman? I have. It just missed the cut. I was like, I had it on the list at one point, but it missed the cut. It was like number 115 or something. I do really like Candyman. I'm gonna go see the new one whenever it comes out, and I will post a review of it. Now, there's been no Godzilla movies, but there has been King Kong, though. There has been some King Kong. Next up is Wonder Woman. Yeah. Again, I talked about this literally the other day on my DCEU ranking, so I don't really want to talk about it too much right now, but it's one of my favorite superhero movies. So that's why it's up there at number 30. Simple as that. Probably one of my favorite female-led movies, I guess. Actually, is there one that's higher on the list? There might be. There probably is. At least one or two. It's got to be. I don't know. A great movie, though. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, man. It's one of the best DC movies, I would say. The only issue is the ending with like the villain was a little weird, but whatever. And another superhero movie, The Avengers. Not my favorite MCU movie. We still got a couple more MCU movies to go, by the way, so probably like 3 or 4 more left. 3 left, maybe. I don't know. But The Avengers, I mean, yeah, it's the first Avengers team-up movie. It does it so well. Loki's a pretty good villain in this one as well. It does what it's supposed to do. It basically was the building blocks to this entire MCU crossover universe because you had a lot of build-up before, which is why it works so well. Yeah, I had Aliens on the list. I don't have Alien on the list, though, so I apologize for Alien lovers, but I don't have Alien on here. I have Aliens a little bit lower. We already went over that, though. Yo, $10 from Above Water. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for doing this. Your content is great. I appreciate it. I absolutely love doing stuff like this, so I am all for it. Not really feeling that Avengers movie. It is what it is. Mustache villain, yeah, from Wonder Woman. But yeah, no, the Avengers, I think it's a great movie, but I do think the other Avengers, some of the other ones are a little bit better, which we'll talk about later. This next one is my favorite comedy of all time. It is one of the craziest movies ever. It's stupid, and that's why it's so good. Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. I like this one more than the first one. This is actually the second one. There's a whole trilogy. I actually love this trilogy a lot, all 3 of them. I was pissed they never made a 4th one. But I think the second one's the best one. I really do. I don't know why people prefer the first one, to be honest, because this one has a lot more. Like, it's basically the first one, but with more. Because first one doesn't have Fat Bastard. First one doesn't have Mini-Me. You know? Come on now. Who doesn't love a good shag? Oh, behave. Fucking love Austin Powers. I'm so mad they didn't do a fourth one. Like they were planning it too. I think I heard behind the scenes information. They were talking about it. But oh well. It's a great movie. It's not meant to be taken seriously. Like the only reason people would ever rate it low is because they expect it to be like I'll literally I don't feel like looking at reviews, but I could read reviews. Guarantee you expert after 2 hours, I got a tune it out. Family emergency at the hospital. See you later. Oh, I hope everything's okay, man. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, though. I appreciate it, but I hope everything's all right. But yeah, everything in this movie, it's ridiculous. It's over the top, but it knows what it is, and it has a lot of fun with it. Like, it's Austin Powers. Like, what do you expect? You know what I mean? I see people reviewing it. They're like, the movie breaks realism where Austin Powers talks to the screen. It's like that's part of the fucking movie. It's whatever. I'll leave it at that. 27, Interstellar. Watch this. The reaction I posted like 4 days ago, or no, 2 days ago, right? Recently, I posted the reaction to this, and yeah, you guys could probably tell how much I liked it from the reaction. So I'm sure you all knew why it's up here, because I didn't know what to expect either. I was like, I feel like this is gonna be a boring space movie, but it wasn't. It was one of the best stories I have ever seen, and it was executed so well, perfectly, I would say. Made me cry in a couple places. Did it make top 25? Unfortunately, no. But top 30 though, so that's fine. That's still pretty good. This is still really damn good. I've seen thousands of movies, so that's still pretty damn good. But it's a masterpiece. I'd say every movie from here on out I consider to be like a near masterpiece. So the acting, especially Matthew McConaughey, did such a good job. I have not seen Arrival, no. It was so good. Christopher Nolan, I love his directing. I really do. Next up, Back to the Future Part 2. So not Part 1, but Part 2. Part 1 is a little bit higher. But Part 3 is not on the list at all. I don't think Part 3 is bad. I just don't think it's nearly as good as 1 and 2. Like, it doesn't hold up the same way as 1 and 2 were. And Back to the Future Part 2 is basically just Part 1, but it has a lot more to it. Less original, obviously, because the first one did it first. But you have a lot of things that repeat itself, but in a pretty brilliant way. And I love how they go to the future in this one, obviously, 2015, which to us is like, holy shit, they thought there was going to be like flying cars in 2015. It's funny, though, because obviously watching it today. But it's really one of those movies that you just have to watch. You know, everything, how it works out. It definitely has time travel that I don't think makes much sense compared to other. Not that time travel makes any sense at all, because it's still time travel, but it really does have time travel that you really get immersed into what this time travel is about. You obviously you don't think it's going to be possible, but I love how the story's kind of laid out, and it makes it so there's no really plot holes. I feel like I've rewatched these movies many times, and I can't really think of any moments where I'm like, shouldn't that character be there or there in that moment? But no, they work it out really damn well. You know, there's a comic from Doc's point of view. Really, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I love this movie. I don't know what to tell you. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. Not as good as the first one, though, in my opinion. Next up, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, one of the best comic book movies of all time. James Gunn, just I don't know. He makes good movies, in my opinion. He makes good movies. It's one of the best team up superhero movies. One of the best like stories, I guess. The way it just plays out. Again, not my favorite MCU, but one of my favorite MCU movies. And I'm really excited for Volume 3. I didn't like Volume 2 as much, but I still think it was a good movie. I just didn't make top 100. But I really do like this movie a lot. I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. That's definitely one of the top tier Marvel movies for most people. I remember watching it for the first time. I went into it thinking like I'm not gonna like this. Actually, wait, I watched this movie for the first time on an airplane. I just remembered that. I watched it on a freaking airplane. And I loved it, even watching it on a crappy airplane TV. And then I rewatched it later on, and I'm like, oh, this is even better. But just great characters. I mean, they're literally the only one of the characters is human. Not even human, because he's like part human, not really. You find out in the second one, but it's still the only one of them actually looks human, and the rest of them are literally like interdimensional creatures. But they just do such a good job of bonding these characters together. So yeah, it's fucking great. And then that scene with Gru at the end, sad as hell. It's a really good movie, man. The way it plays out. And again, I love Chris Pratt. I love Chris Pratt. So there's actually one more Chris Pratt movie on this list. I bet y'all can't guess it. I bet y'all can't guess it. I doubt anyone will. But there is one more Chris Pratt movie on this list. The Dark Knight Rises at 24. This one is a surprising pick. I see some people say that this is the worst of the Dark Knight trilogy. I like it more than that, though. I think Bale, or not Bale. I was thinking of Christian Bale, so I said Bale. Bane is one of the most interesting villains in this movie. Oh, he had a heart attack? I'm glad to hear he's better, though. Damn. Hope everything turns out all right, man. But I'm glad to hear he's better. Guardians of the Galaxy too goofy for my taste. It is really goofy. I can enjoy goofiness every now and then, though, so the enemy falls for the dance-off. But that's kind of part of the goofiness of it. Jurassic World. I actually already had Jurassic World on this list, so it's not Jurassic World. And I haven't seen Magnificent 7, so it's actually not Magnificent 7. It's a movie that I don't think anybody's gonna like even have seen, but whatever. The Dark Knight Rises, yeah. I think this movie just is really cool. I like how it takes place 8 years after the last one, so people are just Batman's not really been a thing. Lego movie, get the hell out of here. No, there's only one more animated movie left on this list, by the way. Can you guess what's the last animated movie left on this list? I bet y'all can't guess it. There's a little more. Like fully animated, that is. Yeah, no, but Bane I think is a great villain. You have Catwoman in there as well. I think the ending was incredible. The action, it was mostly pretty damn good. I love what it was able to do with Gotham in this movie, how everyone kind of came together at the end there. And watch it be the Lego movie. You never know, bro. But yeah, Dark Knight Rises, great. Like I said, not much more I could say about it other than that. And next up, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Again, I literally just talked about it in my DCU ranking, but I mean, I love this movie. I do. I think it does this story so damn well. Batman got destroyed by Bane in one of the fights. Hell yes, he did. Any hints for what, the last animated movie or for the last Chris Pratt movie? We'll find out eventually. I'll say for the animated movies, I already had one of the movies in this. There's a franchise, so there's already been a movie that I had on this list. It's in the same franchise. It's pretty easy to guess, I'll be honest, but I think I said it before actually. No, it's not Passengers. But yeah, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, I'm pissed they're not making another one, or at least they're not planning to, because this set up a perfect universe here. It really did. It set up such a perfect universe, man. It really did. There was so much going for it here, and it just seems like it's gonna be it. But I mean, it's one of my favorite team up movies. For superhero movies, I swear if it's Bride Wars, I've never even heard of Bride Wars. All right, next up, this one pains me because I don't know why it has a 37 Metascore. I don't get it. It makes no sense, but it's fucking Child's Play 2. Why does it have a 37 Metascore, man? Are you crazy? Ian Wild. I mean, Brad Dourif's voice is amazing to hear. So You can't go wrong with Brad Dourif's voice. And he is his story in this one, right? With how he's trying to get Annie into his body is just really interesting. Obviously, it's the same thing that was going on in the first one, but in this one, it's kind of like a little bit like further because he's in a different situation. He doesn't have his mom there, who his mom, believed him. These foster parents don't believe him. And then at the end, where he's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna kill this kid because he realizes he can't get into his body anymore because it's been too late. That shit was great. And that big final showdown in the toy factory was one of my favorite scenes in a horror movie ever. Not my favorite horror movie, but one of my favorite horror movies. There's one more on the list later on. All right, next up is this Chris Pratt movie I was talking about, and it actually just came out like a month ago. I didn't do a reaction to it, but I freaking love the shit out of this movie. I looked up reviews for it, and every review I watched, like every negative review I watched, I thought everyone's points were completely idiotic. They were complaining about things that could be easily just explained to you if you just paid attention to the damn story. You know what I mean? Look, it might be a weird pick. I might be in the honeymoon phase because I literally watched this movie 10 days ago. Maybe 10 days ago. I wish I did a reaction. I didn't. I was down the shore and I just watched it because I was like, whatever. I didn't really expect anyone to care about it, but I didn't expect me to care about it either. I'm just like, whatever, I'll just put this on. And I was like, this is a fantastic fucking movie. I'm sorry, it is. Look. Are they going to put that on DVD or Blu-ray? Maybe. I don't know. Right now it's on Amazon Prime. The story is about Chris Pratt's just a normal guy, right? Whatever. And he's just chilling with his kid and his wife. And these people come from the future and basically recruit people from 30 years before or something like that to bring them to the future to fight this war against these alien creatures. That's the best part about this movie are these creatures, right? These creatures, in my opinion, are the coolest looking creatures out of any. I like these creature designs more than the Alien design. And Alien has amazing creature design, right? Well, they look awesome. But these creatures, oh my, are they fucking amazing. And the CGI on them is like the most realistic CGI I've ever seen. I didn't even realize it was at first, but it's pretty obvious that it was. But at the same time, you're like, wait, you know what? It could be real. And for the first shot, you see them. Obviously, later on when they're running around, they're obviously not going to be, practical monsters. But in that first shot, when you see it close up, it's like looking at you. They make these weird clicking noises too, and they're just really cool. The only issue I have with the movie is there's a couple points where I'm like, it feels a little bit low budget, but then there's other points where it feels like really big budget, and it's like, holy shit, this is actually amazing. Can I see an image? Yeah, I'll pull up an image for you. We'll go to this screen. Google Images. The Tomorrow War. They're called white spikes. Let me see if I can find a good image. That's a shot. There's some. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is like concept photo. You can't even see it. Hold on. I gotta move my camera. I don't want to move my camera though. Hold on, I know what to do. Oh wait, I'm on this tab. I can move my camera. Yeah. There we go. So they look like this. I want to find that one shot where they started off in the movie. They just look like this. I just fucking love that. I don't know. Let me move this over. Like just this little creature, it's got like these like nasty ass teeth. It's got these little things that like shoot out these like, I don't even know what they are. They're kind of like bullets, but not really. They like walk on walls and crap. They remind me of like things you'd see in like the Alien movies, but I just love the design of them. I don't know. I might be in the minority there, but I think they have a really cool design to them. So, yeah. And I just think Chris Pratt actually, even though I prefer him in comedic roles, he did a really good job. Oh yeah, it kind of does look like Skullcrawlers a little bit too. I think he did a great job in this movie. Like, I took him really seriously. I thought he was a really good addition to the story. And there was actually a couple scenes that made me tear up a little bit, I'll be honest. I didn't expect to. And some of the scenes, I don't really know what to say without spoiling it, but there's so much intensity, good action. I wish it was R, though. It's not R, it's PG-13, so it's a little bit less. Oh, yeah, no, actually, Chad, it reminded me of Extinction like crazy, right? When I was watching it the whole time, I'm like, I actually kind of want Extinction to like come back because of this movie, because they look so cool, and the way they implement them in the scenes. Like, there's the one scene in like this broken, like destroyed Miami, and they're just running through the streets, and there's like a bunch of them coming, and they're just like shooting them up. Like, it felt like a Call of Duty Extinction mission. I just loved it. It was really good. Is it bad that I want to pet them? Yeah, it's definitely one of the best creature designs since Aliens, that's for sure. Predator is also a really cool design too. I don't know if people consider that an alien, but whatever. Next up, Logan. As I said, I'm reacting to the X-Men movies now, but I already saw Logan before I even saw X-Men. So even with not knowing anything about the character of Wolverine, I watched this movie and still loved the shit out of it. Like, I was able to kind of catch on what his character's about just by watching the movie. I didn't know his backstory or anything, but I could kind of catch on what his character acts like, his relationship to Professor X. And I was able to kind of, piece it together a little bit. And man, is it a good movie. The R rating definitely helps too, because the action is incredible, man. Incredible. And it's sad too. It's a sad movie. And it has a really good, father-daughter thing going on. It's got one of the most interesting developments of a character, I guess. Because now I have seen the first couple X-Men movies, so it makes me be able to appreciate Logan more, because I have reacted to the first couple. I didn't upload them yet, but I have done them. Yeah, I know a lot of people are hating on the Tomorrow War, but like I said, I looked up the reviews for people who didn't like it, and every person was saying the same thing, and it was something that is so easily explained. It was people who were complaining about the time travel and how it works in the movie. They're like, oh, the movie was so stupid because why couldn't they just do this, or why couldn't they just do that? And I'm like, if you watch the movie, they literally explain why they can't do that. You just have to pay attention, and they explain why they can't do that. Because time travel in this movie works in a specific way. You can't, change that. It's a specific thing that you can't alter. You know what I mean? And they explain it really well. You just have to be paying attention. And people don't pay attention to movies when they watch them. Let's be real here. So. But yeah, that was a really surprising movie to me. It was by far my favorite of 2021 so far. Next up, Jurassic Park. Yeah, we talked about this before. I said it was going to appear at some point because I had Jurassic World before. Jurassic Park's a little bit better, though. It just is. It's a classic. Steven Spielberg's one of his best work. Not my favorite Steven Spielberg movie, though. I think there's one more Steven Spielberg movie I have a little bit higher up here. But it's definitely one of the best that he's done. The dinosaurs themselves, especially that first T-Rex scene, is by far one of the best scenes in a movie. I mean, especially with the kids getting like, I heard that apparently that was actually like something went wrong with the animatronic, and that the kids actually got scared because of it, so their reactions were like real. That made it seem even better, to be honest. And my throat's starting to hurt again now. I might need to chew some more gum. Dude, talking for more than 2 hours at a time is like trying to kill your voice. It just is. Oh my god. Yes, this is the first one. Yep. I can only drink so much water, so like that's why I don't want to drink more water. Okay, that's good. And then as we get to later parts of the movie too, I think with like the raptors and stuff when they're attacking, So good. So good. Very excited for the next Jurassic World movie as well. Yeah, exactly. They complain about things not making sense, but it's like you're thinking too deep to it, you know? I've been watching your channel since Jurassic Park reactions. You're now one of my favorite creators. You videos always make me smile like I'm actually sitting down and watching a movie with you. That is the nicest thing someone said to me today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, people have said some nice things today, but that's the nicest thing. Just the way it was said. Thank you so much. I love doing this for you guys, so it's not like it's not a pain on me at all to do this. Like I appreciate you guys way more than you probably even realize, to be honest. Like just being here is enough, honestly. Just clicking on one video is enough, but I appreciate you guys as well. So thank you so much. My favorite Jurassic movie was 2015. I like Jurassic World too, but I think Jurassic Park for me is a little bit better, just slightly better. Jurassic World we had a little bit lower on the list. Okay, we're almost there. Next one, Temple of Doom. Definitely a 57 on Metascore. What are these people smoking, man? This movie is very out of place. It doesn't really connect to 1 and 3 as much as they do, but I think it's the most fun movie. I think it's the most interesting story. It's so out there, definitely. It's very weird. You know, you have this character who's like got these mythical stones or whatever, and they want to get these stones to give them to these these people in this village. It's very weird stuff going on, right? But the progression from them being in this temple or this like whatever place to them going into did you miss any Rockies or is 4 is my favorite, yeah. Which is weird. I know a lot of people definitely would not have 4 as their favorite, but it's my favorite. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the progression from them going from this palace to the temple and below is so cool. My favorite scene out of any Indiana Jones movie is that scene where they're stuck in that like room and that trap goes off and the spikes come out of the ceiling and they're coming down on Short Round. Short Round's a great character, by the way. Short Round's coming down and they're stuck there and Willie's on the other side and Willie has to like get them out and she's like freaking out because of all the bugs. People say Willie annoys them and that's why they don't like this movie. She's kind of supposed to be annoying, but I find her annoyance to be kind of funny, to be honest. Like her being annoying is like comedic, especially seeing Indy's reactions to her being annoying, like him telling her to like shut up every 2 seconds. It's funny. So I heard that she was sleeping with Steven Spielberg or something. Is that true? I don't know, but still, it's just a fun movie. It's got to be up there. Why is this top 20? Because it's the Temple of Doom. That's why. Oh, and that ending on the bridge. Oh my god, I love that scene. I love that scene. All right, this is the animated movie I was talking about. Someone guessed it in the chat, but yeah, it's Toy Story 3. I mean, come on. This movie, to this day, has one of my favorite scenes in any movie ever, and that's the furnace scene. I mean, they legitimately made us sit there in theaters when I was 10 years old, and I was thinking that my childhood best friends were about to get lit up in flames right in front of my eyes. They made me think that was going to happen. And I believed it was going to happen. I was sitting there like, like, no movie made me do that, like, freak out like that much when I was 10 years old. You know what I mean? So, you know they did a damn good job. It was definitely for the best that they didn't have them die, because if they did, that would be way too horrific for a child's movie, but they made us think it. And I love that scene so freaking much because of they're all just sitting there and then freaking Buzz is just like puts out his arm, he's just like telling everyone to stop, like just enjoy your last moments together, hold hands. And Woody's still there. He's like, I'm not giving up, because Woody, this whole franchise, has not wanted to give up. That's like his whole thing. He doesn't give up. He's like still trying to go, and then Buzz is like, nah, bro, just take my hand and let's die as a family. It's beautiful. It's a fucking beautiful scene. The rest of the movie's still pretty good, but that scene alone pushes it up at least a little bit higher, like, because that scene is just a masterpiece and a half. I mean, it just is. Come on. It's so good. Number 16, Peter Jackson's King Kong. I love this movie so much. It's another one of those movies that I watched as a kid, and it's just stuck with me as time went on. And I like it more than the other King Kong movies. I have seen most of them. I've seen the one from 33. I've seen the one from, what was it, 76 did it come out? I forget when that other one came out. I didn't like that one that much, though. Obviously, I've seen Skull Island. I watched that, and it's on the list a little bit lower. But Peter Jackson's King Kong is just, it's something special. It's something special. It's a long movie, so if you don't like long movies, you're probably not going to like this, but it's a long movie. I would say there's definitely some of it that could have been trimmed, but a lot of it is really important to building some of these characters, so I don't really complain that much about it. The CGI for its time was really good. I mean, most of Peter Jackson's movies, like his Lord of the Rings movies, I mean, they had some good CGI for the early 2000s. But the way this movie has the scenes with King Kong just taking on those dinosaurs, I mean, you can't tell me you haven't watched, or if you have watched, obviously you haven't watched it, you can't tell me anything because you haven't seen it. But if you have watched it, you can't tell me you weren't freaking the shit the first time you were seeing Kong taking dinosaurs and just going with their fucking mouth. I mean, that is just awesome shit. You have the scene on the, when I was young, I thought this Kong was connected to the Monster vs. Kong. Honestly, I like this Kong more than the Monster vs. Kong. He's smaller. He's definitely smaller than the Monster vs. Kong, which I kind of preferred because it felt more connected to the characters because of that. And I love the ending on the in New York City on the Empire State Building, and it's just one of those movies that I feel like you have to see. This is definitely one of those have to see movies in my opinion. I really do. Yeah, Andy Serkis has done so many amazing things with this type of stuff, and he just hasn't gotten much credit for it, really. It's ridiculous. He's so good. All right. Now, y'all want to see my favorite horror movie of all time? Right here. Nightmare on Elm Street. At the number 15 spot. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is Wes Craven's best work. I think it is a movie that I could agree hasn't aged the best. Like, some of the dialogue's really stupid, but it's such a classic. And I love a lot of the kills, and I love a lot of the practical effects that they use, especially that scene in the beginning when Tina's getting killed. She's on the ceiling, and she's going all around the room getting gutted. That's a great scene. I love the whole idea, the originality of this movie, the fact that there's someone coming into your dreams and killing you. It's a great concept that I think needs more movies. This franchise needs more movies. I want to see another one. Some of these movies I haven't watched, I will be now because they're on your list. See, that's why I love doing this, because now I can recommend some movies, you know? Can you call this a horror movie? It's not scary. I don't think many horror movies are that scary, to be honest, but I don't really get scared by many horror movies. But this one is just, it's so well done. And the story is creepy, too. You don't learn that much about it, but you learn a little bit, and you're like, bro, he's like a child murderer, you know? Did they really put it in theaters? That's crazy. For a little bit. I'd love to see this in theaters. Yeah, King Kong's great. We just went over that. That was a great one. All right, let's get to number 14. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I had War for the Planet of the Apes earlier on the list, but Dawn, I like a lot more. I think my favorite thing about this movie is the theme of generalization, because generalization to me is the biggest problem with the world, and this movie really focuses on that really hard, right? Like it pinpoints the whole idea of generalization and sticks it in your brain because it shows how it can create war. And that's exactly what it does here. Great action. Everything with Caesar against, was it Koba, was fantastic. The little twist there where he tried to get the one guy to take out or take out Caesar to make it look like, the humans did it so then they could start this war. Absolutely love that. I bet Mission Impossible Fallout will be high. Maybe after I watch it. I haven't watched it yet though, so I couldn't have it on there. Nightmare is really the best out of the big three classics. First horror movies, first movies. Yeah, I agree. I would have it Nightmare, then Halloween, then Friday, so I would agree. But yeah, this movie I have my reactions on my channel, so if you guys have seen it, you know how much I enjoyed it. Gary Oldman's in it as well. He does a fantastic job. Obviously, Caesar is just as good as he was in War. And I even loved the first one as well. The first one's not on this list. Next up, this one might be a surprise to some people. We have another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. But I bet I bet you're going to guess the wrong Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I bet you're going to guess the wrong one. I know what everyone's going to be thinking. Are you ready for the new Michael movie? Hell yeah. Very excited for that. But we have another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And that is Total Recall. So, I know which one you all were expecting to see. That may be later on the list, though. I don't know. That may be later on the list. It might be. But Total Recall. Loved it. I loved it. It seems as though critics didn't because it's got a 57 on Metascore. But I love this movie. I really do. It has one of the most interesting universes ever. Kindergarten Cop. I actually haven't seen that. It's got one of the most interesting universes ever. One of the most interesting ideas ever. And the fact that he's this guy who doesn't realize that he has these implanted memories and he's someone that he's supposed to, not know about his past. And someone starts finding out about that. They start coming after him and he starts trying to find out more about it. And then eventually he gets to this planet and these battles break out. And just because it's this futuristic movie with a lot of these futuristic gadgets, there's a lot of cool things that they're able to do with it. I haven't rewatched it yet. I watched it for that first time when I did the reaction. I want to watch it again because I loved it so much, but I haven't watched it since. So definitely one of those I need to rewatch. Number 12, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. You guys guessed it before. I saw people were like, "Oh, I'm sure he has Deathly Hallows Part 2 up there," and yes, I do. Definitely my favorite Harry Potter movie for sure. It wrapped up the universe or wrapped up the franchise really well. Obviously, there's more after that with the Fantastic Beasts stuff, but the way it wrapped up Harry's story and Ron's story, everything at Hogwarts was fan-freaking-tastic. The whole battle at Hogwarts, so well done. So well done. Everything against Voldemort and the music. Harry Potter's franchise has some amazing music, but this one had some of the best by far. It was dark. I love how they had kids dying in it. That sounds so bad out of context, but it had stakes because there was kids actually dying in it. None of them were safe. You know what I mean? Don't believe what people say you have amazing taste in movies. I appreciate it. We all have different tastes too at the end of the day, so it's alright if some people disagree. Yeah, a lot of people would say Prisoner of Azkaban is their favorite, but I liked Prisoner of Azkaban. I think I prefer the more serious and gritty ones. And that one was serious, but it wasn't to that same level as what this one was yet. So I have not seen the Harry Potter musical, no. But the soundtrack, the action, the story, that scene with the Snape twist. Learning more about Snape and finding out what his true intentions were was so well done. I was like, oh my god. I haven't watched any of your Godzilla vids. How do you feel like King of the Monster? Oh, I loved King of the Monster. Not in my top 100 movies, but I loved it. I did love it. I liked all the Godzilla movies that I watched. I watched the 2014 one and King of the Monster. I loved both of them. Just not top 10, top 100 worthy. But yeah, Harry Potter, great movie. 11, Kick Ass. Kick Ass is so good, man. Oh my god, I love this movie. I really do. It is. I love the second one too, but it's not. It's not in my top 100. But I do like the second one. But the first one, it's takes the superhero genre, right, and puts it in a realistic perspective from a kid. That's why this movie is so successful and why it works so well, because the main character is us. It's the people who watch superhero movies and love comic books. That is who the main character is, and then he wants to become a superhero himself, so he tries it, and then he gets himself involved in this crime world with a bunch of bad shit going on. Hit Girl's a badass in this movie. She's obviously the highlight of it, even though she's not the main character, but she's probably the highlight of the whole movie, to be honest. Especially that scene at the end. It's ridiculous, over the top, but it's so much fun. It's got some comedic stuff to it too, but it's not like that funny. But I don't watch it for the comedy. I watch it because it's a really entertaining story that presents itself so well. And it is a crime that we never got the trilogy completed with a third movie. I really wanted to see a third one. The comics, I read the comics. The third comic book was really good. I wish they finished off the trilogy with the third one too, but they didn't. So, it is what it is though. All right, we're getting into the top 10 now. Next up is my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, and that is Spider-Man 2. I think most people probably saw this coming. It's probably one of the most beloved Spider-Man movies ever. I would say this is, yeah, I think people consider this the best one for the most part. Either this one or the first one, but I just love it so much. And the Peter Parker stuff is probably some of the best stuff of the movie. Like, it is a Spider-Man movie, but at the same time, it's more of a Peter Parker movie. And everything it does with him as a character, and this is why I do prefer this Spider-Man over like the MCU, is because he's in a universe where he's the only hero. He can't have or rely on other heroes to do stuff for him. He is the only person in this universe who is able to do the things he can do. So he can't like give it up, but he wants to because his life is failing. His Peter Parker life is failing without it. So he has to try to find a balance, but he can't. So he gives it up. And then when he gives it up, he sees people dying, getting hurt and injured. He's like, shit, I got to get back to it. And then he has like pretty good life without it, but then he realizes he has to and he does it. And then it works out so perfectly. Doc Ock as a villain's fantastic. Such a good movie. Do you like Spider-Verse? I do, but it's not in my top 100 though. I do like it though. Yes, it is a cinematic masterpiece. It does mean a lot to me too. I watched it when I was really young. Like I said, Spider-Man movies were like my childhood, so I like it a lot. I think I'd like Spider-Verse a lot more if I liked animated movies a lot more, but like I said, I can't feel that connected to animated movies the same way I'm sure a lot of other people could. But I think Spider-Verse is still a good movie. So yeah, that's number 10. Number 9, another Christopher Nolan movie, Inception. I actually just watched this last night. I've seen it before, obviously. If I didn't already see it, I would have done a reaction, but I've seen it plenty of times when I was younger, like when it first came out. But I rewatched it for the first time in a couple years and realized exactly why I liked it that much. Someone doing the dishes right now? I don't know, hopefully not, because this shit's gonna be loud. But this movie, like I was saying before with the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, I love the idea of dreams, right? Dreams are just interesting to me. So a movie literally based around the idea of dreams, you know already I'm gonna love it. You know already I'm gonna love it. And this movie presents the idea of dreams so freaking perfectly. It's so interesting, so deep. It's got good action too when it's there, but that's the action doesn't even matter. The best part of the movie though is beyond that. I think the character of Cobb is one of my favorite characters from any movie. One of the most interesting characters from any movie. Because he's this character who is like he's in these dreams and he's stuck on his wife. Because a lot of you haven't seen this, I won't spoil anything, but he's stuck on this what happened to his wife, and he's like he can't get it out of his head, and it's like ruining these dreams that he's in with other people, and it's ruining the mission that they're on, and it gets kind of stuck in between what they're trying to do, and he has to try to overcome that, and the movie kind of deals with him overcoming that. I just really like that and how that plays out. By far one of the best soundtracks from any movie I've ever seen either as well. Like that soundtrack is like, oh my god. Like there's that one like 10-minute, 20-minute scene towards the end that's just like constant stuff happening. Like you have a dream within a dream within a dream. There's so many different things going on at once, and they have this amazing soundtrack playing. It's like, oh my god, it's so good. It probably did take the idea from something, but to be honest, everything takes ideas from something, so I don't really care. Yeah, he was great. Leo DiCaprio, I mean, it's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. I want to put it higher, honestly, but I think this is fair for now. It could go higher as I watch it again, maybe, but I don't know. It's just so good. If you haven't seen it, it's a must. It's definitely like the first like 40 minutes of the movie, you really have to pay attention, and if you don't like dialogue heavy movies, you might get bored because there's a lot of dialogue. But you have to be invested in the story to really like it, because there's deep story there, right? You have to really pay attention to everything going on. It's confusing too. After watching it a couple times, it's not confusing, but after your first time, you'll be like, oh, what the hell just happened? But it's great. All right. Number 8. Captain America Civil War. So this one, I've seen people give mixed reviews on, but it's a movie that I think handles something so well. I do think Lord of the Rings and Terminator are original ideas for sure. That's true, but there's definitely some like inspiration they probably take from something else at least. You know what I mean? Sometimes it depends, I guess. There could be different cases where they're completely original, I guess. But yeah, this movie, it takes an idea that I always wanted them to do in a superhero movie, because you have to take into account some of the realistic stuff that happens. Like people die from the heroes a lot. There's a lot of buildings that get destroyed and stuff, and it's like it's all about accountability. Like, should they take accountability? And I do like how this movie handles those ideas really, really deeply. And I love, obviously, everything with Cap and Iron Man towards the end. I was kind of just team middle. Like, I didn't really have a specific person I agreed with more, to be honest. I felt like both of them had clear-cut sides and good, what's the word? They all had clear-cut reasons that made sense. So I was never on one side, because and the movie did a really good job of making me not on one side, because I really did understand where both of them were coming from. And this is the movie, it's definitely a little biased, because this is the movie that got me into like superhero movies. Like before this, I only watched the Dark Knight trilogy and Spider-Man. I didn't want to watch anything else. Once I watched this, it got me into everything else. I only watched this because Spider-Man was in it. I heard Spider-Man was in it. I was like, all right, I gotta watch it just because he's in it. And then I was like, oh, I actually really like that. Let me go watch everything else then. And so I started watching the rest of the MCU, and it took me a while to watch the DC stuff, but I did. Some of this on this channel, so gotta give the movie some credit there. So Captain America Civil War, great movie. Definitely deserves to be on the list. And then next up, another MCU movie, my second favorite MCU movie. We have one more after this, but this is going to be Infinity War. Yeah, Infinity War. Of course, there's going to be superhero movies on this list up high. I love them, so obviously it's very much anticipated to see. And this is another one of them that I absolutely love. Thanos as a character is by far one of the most interesting villains of all time. And I mean, this one of the best crossover movies. I mean, you have Guardians of the Galaxy coming in with the Avengers, Black Panther coming in, and just all these characters that we've been seeing in these solo movies, and they just kind of throw them all together, and it works so well. It shouldn't work. There's way too many things happening in this movie. It shouldn't work, but it does. It does, which is great. I bet Endgame is going to be his favorite MCU movie. You never know. You never know. Let's get through this because we don't have that many left. But Infinity War is just chef's kiss. I don't really have anything wrong with it, to be honest. I can't think of a single bad thing about the movie. It's perfectly... The ending is perfect, too. The way it ends is, like, the best way to end a part 1 to, like, a movie. Because Endgame was basically the part 2. So, yeah. Next up, Back to the Future for number 6. So, we had Back to the Future Part 2 before, but the first one I like more. I just do. It's a lot more simple, obviously, than the second one. You don't go to the future, they just go to the past. But that simple story just works so well. It's a pretty interesting concept, obviously. You have a kid going back to the future, or not back to the future, he's going to the past, and running into his parents, and then kind of messing up their relationship and having to put it back together. Such a simple concept, but it works so well. And I absolutely loved every second of it. I've probably seen this movie the most out of any movie on this list, I'm thinking. Because I've seen it a lot of times. Like, a lot of times. Have you seen The Big Lebowski? I haven't. And especially how it all wraps up in the end. Oh, the soundtrack's great too, by the way. Oh god, it's a fucking great soundtrack. The way it wraps up too was just perfect. Perfect, man. And I'm glad it turned into a trilogy because, like I said, the second one was really good, so it was definitely worthy of a trilogy. But I don't know, man. What do you guys think about this pick? I'm sure you guys agree with me. It's Back to the Future. Of course you agree with me. There's no way no one doesn't agree with me on that. There's no way. If you've seen it, you probably agree. See, even Metascore gives this an 87. This does not deserve an 87. This deserves like a 99 at least, bro. Come on now. Come on now. And how does Avengers have a 68? Like, what? I don't get it. Favorite horror movie? Right down here. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Bada bing. Which Ghostbusters will be better, the older one or the new one? I have no idea. Okay. So we have 5 left. I want to hear your guys' guesses for the top 5. I want to hear them before we get into it. I'm interested to see what you guys think. I'll just say this right off the bat. There's 3 superhero movies, or comic book movies. I guess they're not all superhero movies, but there are 3 comic book movies. And 2, there's 1 action and 1 fantasy. Yeah. I feel like it's pretty easy to guess. But I don't know. They're pretty obvious picks, I think, at least. I don't know. I don't know. All right, well, number 5. Number 5. Yeah, but it's actually all Twilight. That's 100% true. Number 5 is The Return of the King. See, you guys got that. You guys got that. I don't have the first Lord of the Rings on here, actually. I have the second one. We already went over that. I like the Fellowship. I do. But I think I just like 2 and 3 a little bit more, though. But the Fellowship, not the Fellowship, the Return of the King, probably one of the best like battles I've ever seen in a movie. To be honest, that battle was fucking phenomenal. Everything later on in the movie was phenomenal. This whole movie from start to finish was pretty phenomenal. So it's really, there's not a single moment where I was like, oh, I wasn't enjoying it. There's pretty much every moment where I was engraved in what was happening from literally start to finish. So, Twilight, new moon, eclipse, breaking dawn. Oh no, not Twilight, bro. Not Twilight. 94. See, at least they give this a fair Metascore. Aragorn, I mean, he was just a hell of a fun character to watch in this as well. You had everything with them getting to the volcano to drop the ring in, and then Gollum, or Smeagol, whatever the hell you want to call him, being a bitch. How long does it typically take you to edit your reaction videos? Probably like 3 hours for one. It depends. See, it takes me like 2 to 3 hours without breaks, but most of the time I sit here on my phone and get distracted. So it takes me like 5 hours just because I get distracted. Gotta go. Have a good evening all. See you later, Martin. Don't worry, I have every single remake in my top 4. It's all the I have the what's it called? The Nightmare on Elm Street remake at number 4. And then I have the Halloween remake at number 3. Just to let you know. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. We all know. It's great. All right, next up. Terminator 2. Another movie we reacted to. So you guys guessed 2 of them. So good on you guys. I saw someone say Terminator 2, so whoever said Terminator 2, you're right. This movie I've actually seen a couple times now. I watched it more than once after seeing it for the first time, but I think my experience was improved greatly because I did not know the twist going into the movie, because you guys were telling me that everyone knew the twist going into it. Like, if you saw it back in the day, they advertised the twist. I didn't know that. So I was into it. I went into it thinking that Arnold was going to be kicking our asses here, but then fucking blew me away. He was the one helping us, and I was like really, really, really into that. And he was even better in this one, obviously, because the first one he was trying to kill you the whole time, so it's kind of hard to sit there and enjoy his dialogue moments. But did you watch Rampage or Skyscraper? I did not. The action is some of the best action I've ever seen in a movie, and that's really saying something because it came out in the 90s. So it's like even some of the better than a lot of stuff today, which is, hard to do. I think the T-1000 is even more intimidating than what he was as a Terminator in the first one. You said a while ago that you had to get one of the songs from Terminator. Which was it? Oh, it was from the first one. I think it was it called like Burning in the Third Degree or something? Something like that, I think. Something like that. Great song. This one, it's just so good. It was just so good. Didn't realize James Cameron directed it. Well, he did, and he did a goddamn good job, because it's a great movie. Why does it have a 75 on Metascore? Why? That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I mean, Sarah Connor is just as great as she was in the first. Well, she's actually better in this one. What am I talking about? Because she was more badass. She had this whole setup where she had all these guns that she was learning how to use because of the first one. And she was kicking ass this movie for a little bit, but I mean, obviously Arnold was kicking more ass, obviously. So yeah, Terminator 2, number 4. All right, number 3. Another person guessed this, so good on you guys. The Dark Knight. I mean, come on. Yeah, it's the best Batman movie, in my opinion. Another Christopher Nolan movie. I already said, you guys knew this was going to happen because I already said all of Christopher Nolan's like Batman movies are here somewhere. So obviously you guys knew it was coming. And this one just hits the right way, man. I mean, you have Joker, which Joker is probably my favorite character of all time, or at least villain for sure. He has such a way with. I mean, Heath Ledger is rest in peace to him, but he is freaking fantastic in this movie. It's just insane how good he was. Obviously, everything else going on was great. I love the story though. I love how it all wrapped up in the end. I just, it's hard to really put it into words. I don't listen to Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes. They're just writers paid for their ignorant opinions. The fans' feedback is what count. I don't honestly follow anyone because what I like to follow is people I respect's opinions. Like, for example, there's movie reviewers I'll watch, and I respect their opinions because I know their type of taste, and that's good. But even like the fan user reviews, I don't really care too much about because people review bomb a lot. So that's the issue. And then this is like you said, there's a lot of biased writers out there and stuff. So critics and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to really care. But I'll like look at individual people that I like, and I'll see their view on it, and I'll be like, okay, I might like it because this person likes it. You know what I mean? Is Interstellar on your list? Yes, it's down here at 27, right here. Number 1, 50 Shades of Grey. Hell yeah, you know it. But yeah, The Dark Knight. I mean, come on. So, number 2. It's Endgame. Yeah, you guys guessed that one. You guys did. I probably shouldn't have said that the top 3 are comic book movies, but I did. Everyone says this movie's only good because of the last half, like the last hour. I think the first 40 minutes of the movie is the best part of the movie. All right, and hear me out. It deals with some of the best character stuff from the MCU ever, between the characters of the relationship between like Iron Man and his obviously his wife and his daughter. Everything there. You have the stuff with Ant-Man coming back and seeing his daughter like grown up. Like, that's deep shit. You have the conversation between Black Widow and Cap, which was fucking incredible. Dialogue that was meaningful and impactful to all these characters that we've cared about for so long. The middle part of the movie is more of like the fun thrill ride part where it's not meant to be taken seriously. It's just, we're just progressing the story along. It's not really like, you know, there's no serious moments there. It's all laughter at that point, which you need in a Marvel movie, I guess. And then you get to the scene with Iron Man talking to, I'll call him Tony. Why do I keep calling him Iron Man? Tony talking to his dad from the time travel. And that was a beautiful scene. And then we get to the last half, which is obviously the action, which if you like action, you're going to like that last half because it's got some amazing action. Some of the best moments I've ever seen in a movie. Some of the best theater moments. It is exactly what any Marvel fan will ever want to see in a movie, all put together. And then obviously some devastating death. So I fucking love it. I do. Did you like WandaVision? I did. I didn't love it, but I liked it. Number 1 is Watchmen, right? I don't know. Definitely Green Lantern. Catwoman. Justice League. Daredevil. Maybe. I'll just say that people have guessed it already in the chat. Is Jurassic Park and World on the list? Yes. They were further back. Number 1 is Joker. All right. Look. The only 59 Metascore. I'm done. The only negative I've heard about this movie is people who say it ripped off Taxi Driver. Now, I have not seen Taxi Driver yet. I'm going to watch it on my own so I can, you know, see that opinion, right? To make that opinion for myself. I don't care if it has inspiration from other movies. I don't give a shit. It's its own movie, and it works so perfectly as a movie. It is written to perfection. Okay, there's not a single thing wrong with the story. There just isn't. Okay? Not a single thing wrong. The way yeah, Maddie, you got that completely right. I saw that. I'm like, holy shit. That was 100% right. The way it focuses on like mental illness and a lot of other things like economics, like, what like being poor can do to you, you know? There's a lot of people who think the movie's like dangerous because it has like, I guess stigmatization of people with mental illness. I don't think it does that at all. Just because one character who happens to have that stuff goes down that route of like a dark route, that does not mean that they're saying everyone's like that who's like that. You know what I mean? Not what they're saying at all. Have you watched Borat? I have. It's hilarious, but it's not my top 100 though. But it just presents that so freaking well. And my favorite moment in any movie that I've ever seen, as a big fan of the character of Joker, I guess that's just, whatever. That ending scene where he's sitting on the cop car and the music's playing, one of the best soundtracks that I've ever heard in a movie. He takes the blood from his nose and just kind of does a little smile. That's my favorite scene in a movie ever. It's by far. It just is. It's just perfectly done. I sat there in the theater watching this movie. I'm just like, this is so good. So good. It just is. Yeah, I haven't seen Taxi Driver, so I can't speak on that, but I'm sure it's not word for word the same movie like some people tell me it is, I don't give a shit if it's similar. That doesn't make it a bad movie just because it's similar to something else, I think originality is important, but it has its own thing to it. And the acting, oh, don't even get me started on the acting. He's Joaquin Phoenix does such a good job. Catwoman is number 0. Yeah. Yo, thank you, Jason Carr. I really appreciate that donation, man. I really do. You have a great night. Have you seen Mean Girls? I have. I love Mean Girls, but it's not on the list. But I do love Mean Girls. Joker's just perfect. Let's just read some Joker reviews real quick. Let's just piss ourselves off real quick. I want to do this because I'm gonna get angry reading reviews of Joker, and I want you guys to see me get angry. So let's do it. These are what the people look like giving negative reviews to this movie. I just want to read negative reviews because it's funny. It's just funny. How do I read the reviews? User reviews. 1 star. Let's just piss ourselves off right now, okay? These aren't critics. These are just random people. I thought this movie was complete. I want to see people giving reasons though, because I want to actually be able to refute their points. Character doesn't even stay true to the comics, and director flat out said it didn't because it wasn't really trying to be a word-for-word comic book adaptation. It's its own thing. It's his origin. Whatever. Another person complaining about the character. It seems that people who just don't think he's a good Joker, but that's not really the point. I'll read this one. Okay, it's about mental illness, specifically a mental illness called creative diarrhea. Okay, that's kind of funny. But like, what are you talking about? There's so much wrong with this movie. I won't even start with... I'll make it a little bit bigger for you guys because I don't know if this is too small. There's so much wrong with this. I won't even start with how I knew that a Joker sob story had no hope of artistic success, nor with why I went and see it anyways. I'll start by pointing out other reviewers' observation that this is not even the Joker. He's not... Okay, well, yeah, but that's not the point, though. It's his origin. Joker usually doesn't have an origin, so usually it's just Joker as he is. Whatever. Secondly, this is not... Actually, they heard they're doing a Joker 2, which I thought was weird. I didn't expect a sequel, but apparently they're in talks of it, which I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm interested. He said it's not a film about mental illness. It is a mockery of it, cashing in on the increasing awareness about mental health. How does that make any sense? This is not one concept about psychosis or other mental health problems judiciously explored in the movie. An illness was causes the sufferer to laugh in inappropriate situations seriously. That's a real thing, though. That's not like it's a fake thing. That's a real thing. They do talk about psychosis. They do explore that. They also explore depression. And they explore his laughing illness as well. That's real. I see your OnlyFans tab. Yeah. Real funny. I don't have a Instagram for the channel. I have a personal one, but I don't give that away. All you're getting here is a downtrodden loner being subjected to beatings and injustices designed to spark indignation in the viewer. No, but he has mental illnesses, though. He's not just a loner who got beat a bunch. The reason for a lot of his illnesses is because of the beatings. That's true. And the injustices doesn't help him at all either. It's a mystery to me how anyone could have come to judgment of Phoenix's theatrical achievement based such asinine script, because I can't. Not that you should devote. And it kind of hurts to read these reviews because it's like, what are you talking about? Because he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but at the same time he doesn't. You know what I mean? Plot is one-dimensional and juvenile. The dialogue is as engaging as a monotone nursery rhyme, and the character development shallow. There were goofs left and right and center, like revolvers with 0 recoil and 8 bullets. Okay, those exist. Like, people make fun of the whole 8 bullets in the revolver. Those exist, you know. I'm not sure if his revolver was supposed to have 8 bullets. And if that was the case, a lot of people have made the argument that the reason why it had 8 bullets is because he was recollecting the story. He was telling the story. Therefore, some things and some elements of the story are kind of changed around a little bit, which is why things like that happen. But at the end of the day, the revolvers with 8 bullets exist. So I don't know what you're talking about. Like, they exist. They do. MKF30, thank you for the $5 donation, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I don't give it away because I hate my fans. Yeah, definitely, bro. No. Why did Arthur keep dancing? If you don't know why he was dancing there, then I don't know why. You don't really have much of an opinion on the movie then, because you don't even understand it. Did we really need to see Arthur fondling himself? When did he fondle himself? Okay. Why? This is just, I don't like this review. Why so much smoking? Why is that a complaint? It was the 80s. Everyone smoked in the 80s. That's literally the 80s. I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like these reviews. No, I don't feel bad for a violent insult. You're not supposed to feel bad for him. You're not supposed to feel bad for him, man. You're just not. I don't know why people say it's an argument. That's not an argument. You're not supposed to feel bad for him. It's never telling you to feel bad for him. It's telling you to understand him. To understand him, not feel bad for him. If you feel bad for him, there's probably something wrong with you. Well, no, there's certain parts of him you feel bad for, but you wouldn't say, oh, it's a good thing he killed these people. But you would be like, oh, I get why he did. Most of its runtime trying to make the audience understand why a man would become the classically unhinged and maniacal DC villain. That's kind of the point. Alright, I gotta end the stream. I've been here for way too long. I just wanted to read some of those because I thought it'd be kind of funny to do. But yeah,